Welcome back to the Dynasty Grind. I would like to say I did that 30-second timer because I'm shaking it up and trying to get more professional. I noticed we're late. I wanted to give you a warning.
You clicked the wrong button, didn't you?
And yeah, I should have just clicked the wrong button. Hey, how's everyone doing? I'm doing well. Clearly, I'm on form. I'm on point. I'm here for it. Honestly, I felt a little not burnout, but I definitely took a little bit of time off this week. I noticed I'm like 3 or 4 days behind. I was like, oh, there was that 3 or 4 days where when I came home, instead of like working my free part-time job, which I work as a full-time job until 5 a.m., I actually just watch YouTube videos, and that's probably what did it. And yeah, I don't feel like ranking the rookies. I haven't really gone over. I didn't feel like doing any of it, so I didn't, because no one's actually, there's no consequence to that, other than I feel slightly bad for the people that follow and comment and come on the weekly grind and actually ask for that stuff. So I'm starting to catch up. Where you at, Zach? You mid, but we're just waiting for the draft at this point, right?
I wasn't watching YouTube. My uncle passed away last week, and so I took a kind of a hiatus from fantasy just to kind of regroup and spend some time with the family. But yes,
made me feel bad, Zach. I'm like, wine. I'm playing with fantasy football, and you're like, oh, by the way, serious life stuff.
No, absolutely not. But I think sometimes people forget that. Sometimes we forget that. Sometimes like the community at large forgets that. I saw Casey Kasem today sent out a tweet that she wrote for the fantasy footballers, and she said, I'm going to pull back. I'm going to take some time for myself and for my family because I need to do that. And I think that every now and then, even if it's YouTube videos, Peter, like that burnout is real. That, but also, it's nice to be back. It's nice to see the chat rolling. It's nice to have
the Wednesdays they do have
absolutely
a little different. This is a little different. Dynasty Outhouse won't be joining us. I probably should say that he has people he'd rather talk to. I know. Go at him. Ask him why. Because personally, I've seen his other shows. This is his best one. I'm sorry.
He's doing Dynasty Game Night to try to find a champion worthy of coming up against me in the Tournament of Champions, because I won an episode of Dynasty Game Night back last August, and they're still waiting to have enough people to fill up the Tournament of Champions. So I'm here. I'm waiting. Are you not entertained?
I guess we'll allow it then. Speaking of getting back into it, I've had 2 notes this week about players missing from the college database. Both Kalen Granson from Shane is the Worst on Twitter. Who noticed Kalen isn't in there. Yeah. And also there's a guy called Jalen Naylor who's apparently just bursting off all the statistic websites because he got a lot of burst. And so I'm going to add him in the next update. Don't know exactly when it's going to run, but I have updated their stats. I'm probably going to do that tonight, actually.
Is that someone like I keep seeing Debro?
If you like,
tweet out Tanner Connor or Connor Tanner. I don't know. It's a man with 2 first names anyway, but who's very fast.
Jalen Nader. He wasn't very fast, ran a 4.5. Speed adjusted's pretty terrible as well. It's his burst score. I've only glanced while I was entering, and his jumps were amazing. He can definitely win at leapfrog. That's my take so far. Wide receiver, played for 2 different teams, slightly lower conference. I mean, it's not that he's uninteresting. I literally haven't looked yet, but this is the first time hearing about him. Born in 1999, March 2nd.
Peter, we're already 7 hours behind in the chat because G Money sent this question at 2:38.
Wow. That was before I was even born, I'm pretty sure. Sorry, G Money. No, I've noticed people can find, if they follow the link when I share it, they can leave comments early. I think that's how they're beating us, Zach. I found their cheat code. But yeah, G Money says, hi guys, great show. Haven't even done it yet. Really appreciate that, G Money. Hopefully you check out this answer later. He got Gibson, and we was offered Cook, Dalvin Cook. Just pretty certain of that one. The worried about Cook injury history, but feel higher ceiling for the next year, maybe even 2, actually, to be fair, compared to Gibson. I have a win now team. What is your analysis of the mood? Yeah, Cook's got the upside here. I like Antonio Gibson a lot. He's a Dynasty running back 12. I like him. I think that there's a strong disappointment in the fact he became a top 12 running back in the same way that Joe Mixon's been a top 12 running back twice, because it didn't feel like a top 5 season, because they're different things. But I was actually really impressed with his 2021. He improved exactly how I hoped he could and didn't get into the top 5, which is what I was saying last offseason. And that was in a damn running back year. But I do think Cook's, he's one of the few that you can point to say that guy has number 1 upside, right? But I noticed a slight hesitation from you there.
So I mean, I don't mind this trade, but I think if I'm going to give up Gibson, I'm going to look.
You're almost owed.
What?
Carry on.
No, I think I'm going to look in different directions. I think I would. Yes, you got this Cook offer, but that doesn't mean you can't shop Gibson to maybe the Saquon owner, or I mean something like that, where maybe you've got a little bit more
CMC, similar concerns.
Yeah.
Even
similar
more upside.
Concerns, more upside. Maybe you gain an extra year also because because look, Dalvin Cook is almost 27. They headed toward 27, and so
his dynasty value's dead, but doesn't mean his points are.
No, and I think that's, to me, if this is the only trade I can make, and I am a competing team this year, it's going to be, I might bite the bullet and do it, but I also think you can get a similar player with more upside than Cook for Gibson, and so I think
that's a good point. If you make this trade, sorry, I think
you're stuck. You have Dalvin Cook.
Yeah, that's it. That's the only move. But so there's no harm in seeing just if there are other moves that you can make while it's on the table. It's a part of trading I'm not good at. I'm worried it's going to go away the minute I have something that I think is reasonable. But no, there's definitely, if you do that trade, that's, you're hoping Cook hits for 2022. I don't think there's going to be a lot of moving him or need to move him.
Right.
So yeah, explore what do you have to add to Gibson to get someone that you like even more? Najee Harris, maybe? I would say similar upside, similar value concerns because of his inefficiency last year, but he's also young. Like, is it a second? In which case, I like Harris.
I mean, even if you were a competitive team this past year, and I assume that G Money's saying I'm going to be competitive next year, you were competitive this past year. If you've got your first and it's, the 110, 111, 112, and you have to add that to get up to Najee, or, I mean, heaven forbid that you could get up to Jonathan Taylor, but that's those are definitely moves that I would explore. I don't mind packaging Gibson to get up into that top tier, but if I'm staying in the tier with Gibson, I'm going to try to get somebody with just a little more upside than Dalvin Cook.
Yeah, I agree. Zach Harris, evening gents, evening guys, even. Looking forward to the show as always. I have Deshaun Watson and want to know if it would be worth trying to pivot to Mahomes, given some people are down on him right now. I actually think that's a stellar move if you can get it done. And the next thing he follows up with, because this is one of these pre-show comments as well, so I've already read it ahead, is what do we need to add? That's the question, because both have top 5 upside. If you want to be cold and calm and collected about it, similar ranges of outcome, as so long as Watson doesn't get suspended. This is the kind of thing that's really heavily dependent on your league. Because if the guy's got Mahomes, I just don't want to roster that guy. It's not going to get done no matter what.
Right.
I'd be comfortable adding a mid 2022 first to it in a super flex. I think that's a fairly strong offer, but if he doesn't see the range of outcomes and just doesn't like the ickiness, it's just never going to happen.
I like the trade that Zach has posted in the, Watson, Akers, who I think people are going to be higher on than I am, and a 23 second to get Mahomes and a 23 first, which I think may be better than Akers. So yeah,
that's more than a first, even.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would like this trade if that's on the table. Yeah, I think your mind's in the right direction.
Yep.
Weaves. Don't know why I say some of the names like that. Apologize. Would you guys send a first in 2023 for Zach Wilson? No, I would not. Maybe if they add a wide, I don't think his problem. The interrelationship between wide receiver or receiving option and quarterback is intricate. So I'm just going to boil it down to really simple dummy-like stuff because that's what I am. And the one and the other don't have a direct connection in fantasy. If you have a great quarterback, the receiving options can suck. Vice versa is also true.
Right.
But I think Wilson could have performed very well last year. It wasn't that Elijah Moore wasn't tall enough that made it not great. So, yeah. I think Watson's looking like a bust. And since I wasn't overly impressed with the few things I do look at quarterback, as a rookie, I have no reason to double into it. He's an interesting value option right now, but if I think he's a bust, there's very little interest for me in speculating. But yeah, Zach, anywhere different? I think you're in about. I think we spoke about.
I haven't been a big Zach Wilson believer. And I know that a lot of people liked him coming out, but I saw a lot of balls that he threw that he shouldn't have thrown that he got away with. And he's not getting away with those in the NFL, and that's what you're seeing. Now, if you're bound and determined to go get a quarterback for a 23 first, there are a myriad of options that you could probably end up. Well, you might be able to get Kirk Cousins with a 23 first, and I'd rather have Cousins than Zach Wilson. The same thing.
I'd rather keep that first because 23 first are already.
But like if you're bound and determined you need to go get a quarterback, then fine. Yeah. But no, not Zach Wilson. And look, if you get that 23 first and your team is needing a quarterback in a super flex league, maybe you punt this year, keep your 23 first. Your 23 first gets better if your team is worse. So it's addition by subtraction. You don't have the bad quarterback, but you keep your 23 first.
Yeah, I was going to pull up some stats to show that, Elijah Moore is playing well and Zach Wilson is playing badly. Because I realize I don't quote many stats, but I don't even bother to import quarterback stats here. So instead, I'm just going to say, Zach Wilson was bad and Elijah Moore was good. That's literally the opposite of what you would expect to see if there was a connection, that direct connection. Elijah Moore is exactly the type of wide receiver who should help out a quarterback, which is also why that's mostly nonsense as well. I think there's more value in just accepting that Wilson may struggle. I mean, he's a better NFL quarterback than 99.9% of the population's ever going to be. So let's not ham it up too much. But
and I think that people are looking at his last, what was it, 3 or 4 games where he was serviceable. Like he was okay. He wasn't the worst quarterback in the history of quarterbacks where he actually threw a touchdown and didn't throw an interception. But man, by and large, he struggled a lot. And I see that his flaws are things that will continue. Like it's,
I think it's also just partly the value game when players drop in value drastically when we haven't seen much. And I'm very much that way. I'll wait and see on quarterback a lot because I don't have many things that give me signal. Well, like maybe the market is overreacting. But I think increasingly we're finding that the market reacts kind of sharply. The market is sharp. And if you want to be sharp, not that you have to be in every dynasty league or that that's a goal or that you're dumb if you don't. It's just if you're trying to beat the market, the trend is to move even faster, not to slow down. Because players mostly, for the vast majority of times, show us what they are earlier than we're willing to accept it. And that's why the market reacts so quickly, I think. But hey, man, 30% of breakouts don't have a top 36 season before they happen. So it's not like it doesn't happen.
Whoa. You're just going to skip Jake's?
I did. I'm just going to skip. I don't like the name Jake. I can't remember what it is in my past that traumatized me.
Hurt.
But no, Jake, wait. Thoughts on trading Diggs for Lamb and the
Absolutely.
1.03? I like it a lot. Actually, I
yeah,
hate
Lamb
it
in the
because I hate
103.
giving up Lamb, like top 4 dynasty wide receiver for this old guy. But that's
No,
like
I'm on the other side. I'd rather have Lamb in the
pick.
103.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wait, I thought the 103 was coming with Diggs.
No,
I read
it's
this wrong.
Diggs
Sorry, Hank.
for
Diggs,
Lamb and
Lamb
the
on the
103.
103. Yeah. Lamb on the 103. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Please and thank you. Sorry, I just need.
Yeah, we need to on it.
Yeah, just don't wait for them, Jake. Don't wait. That's fair. Sean, Jake, I wouldn't. Similar production, less risk. Adding another top player. I think he read the trade the same way I did. Because Lamb has the side that's adding another player, so I don't know. I think he read it the wrong way too.
Yeah,
I'd rather have Diggs.
He did. Yeah, Sean did. Yeah.
That's
what you're looking at.
That's where the trade makes sense. Yeah. If it's the opposite, then that's not even close, Jake. Whoever's in your league, they're probably going to quit. Do that before they quit, I guess. I have Diggs and we'll be getting Lamb in the 103. Yes, do that. Moving on. C-Plant. This is Connell Plant, famed for being talked about on the Dynasty Crossroads at one time. How you doing, buddy?
You got any?
He's actually made a stream. Normally he misses.
Got any way to find who's going to be a top 5 player, Peter? Yet? No.
I think he's been working on it a little bit. I'm fairly happy with my process. It captures 70%, but then there's a margin of error within it.
Yeah.
Because frankly, it makes a list. I've got a list of 12 right now. Only really 6 fit the list for a top 5 breakout season. And I know 70% would have made that list. And so I'm fairly happy with my process. Connor is trying to do better than that. I don't know yet. Salvatore just traded Fournette, Juju, and the 2023 third. By the way, I hate trading all of those things apart from the third right now. Like, I don't like trading Fournette or Juju away in Dynasty right now. But let's see how he did for Keenan Allen and a 23 second. I don't think it's terrible. But I think it's terrible. Fournette's win now. Keenan Allen's win now. Juju is kind of mid of both because I think his value's on the line right now. And he's the only one that's really going to be relevant in Dynasty a year from now. And the third and the second just... Okay. Zach,
I don't mind it. I think that I would rather have Fournette and Juju on the basis that and if you're looking to, again, this is outhouse cascading trades, if you're looking to trade again or if you're looking for value in the future, the only piece of that is going to be Juju, possibly. And if he falls on his face, you just traded an old guy for an old guy. Who
will be marginally relevant next year. That's the thing. I think Dynasty players are missing, because I did initially. Fournette's going to be like a top 2 round pick in redraft. He's going to be projected in the top 12.
Absolutely.
And right now we see old running back who has weirdly some value. And it's like, well, this year you're going to have a top 12 running back projected, and probably at least a top 24 wide receiver projected. And I do think he has top 12 range of outcomes. And he's the youngest player in the deal, plus whatever, a third. Keenan Allen, who's going to be a top 12 wide receiver. Cool. But the running back matters more for this year. The only thing that might matter for the future is Juju. I don't like it, but it's your team, man.
I don't think people realize how good Leonard Fournette was last year and was 2 years ago when he was the only player in Jacksonville in that backfield. Like, Leonard Fournette was running back 8 in points per game last year. So
you need to stop talking about it, because we've been talking about that and also AJ Dillon and also for like months and no one's noticed, and now everyone's starting to mention it, and so I don't know. I'm tired.
I lied. Running back 4 in points per game in PPR. Yeah,
but there's another one between now and the season. Fournette's going to go from this to everyone saying, "Oh, he's a trade target in Dynasty." No, he's not going to be by the time this is now. Yeah. And he's one of the few running backs I trade for now. Actually, trying to get back to the grind, I recorded like 3 list videos for YouTube in a row last night, just trying to get, I hate doing them. And I was like, I just bang them out. And Fournette was mentioned in each one of them at running back. It's like, I don't trade for running backs right now, but if I am, Fournette makes the list.
maybe
type of
that's what
running
you
backs I'm
do.
interested in Dynasty are those on the Fournette list. Like those are them.
Circling back to G Money, maybe that's what you do is you trade Gibson for Fournette and either a young wide receiver or a pick, and then you still have your top 5 or 6 running back, plus you got younger as well.
If I'm going to trade Juju away, and I'm not saying I wouldn't because I've been unable to trade for him because I think everyone's about at the same value line, and saying sell is basically just not wanting to be called out for thinking there's a chance, which is weird because I think it's going to happen. But you have to have a first in the deal. Like that, as a guy trying to trade for them, I can't get him because everyone wants a first plus value, but they don't want the value. They want the shiny first.
Right.
So you're someone giving Juju away for not, which is why everyone gets away with saying sell Juju. No, Salvatore. Like, I don't mind getting Keenan Allen. To be real clear on this, you're good. Like, your side of the trade, if Keenan Allen is your side here, like, Keenan Allen's an amazing wide receiver who's going to do it again this year. So it's not like your points suffer overly, but it didn't feel like my kind of trade. Maybe say it that way. I dropped in on Addison and Tyler live streaming the other day because they do it the day before us, by the way. We spend so much more time per question. I don't know if that's a good thing, but I was like, wow, we like to discuss. I don't know. It was fun to be in there. The chat was lit over there, by the way. Check them out like Tuesdays before the Dynasty Grind comes out. Addison Hayes always looks bored to me, but he's a good dude and he knows his stuff. And Tyler, you all know. So, Silence of the Lambs. Not sure how much Devi you guys are into. I'm not into it at all. Not that I'm not into it, but I don't play it. But if you do, any thoughts on Cameron Ward as an NFL prospect? Could he be the 2023 version of Malik Willis or better? Zach, do you know who that is?
I have no idea. I don't Devi, and I'm starting to think that I fell into the right process, and nothing against Devi, and I think people who play Devi and enjoy that, that's awesome. But the way that I watch film is backed by a Nobel Prize winning economist. And so I'm like, okay, I feel like I'm doing the right thing by accident. I mean, it was 100% by accident, but
I would say check out Kane Fossil at Devi_Kane on Twitter. He's one of our DLF Devi guys. There's a bunch of them over there, but Kane's normally the one I see posting. I actually really like Travis May, but he's at RotoViz. He's a competitive company, but you should really check out Travis May as well. And if they don't know who they are, I would be highly surprised if they can't tell you basically where they're going to be drafted already. So
I would also plug Felix Sharp, who's at Sharp Review, who's a Campus to Canton guy. He's always one of my go-to Devi. So you got your pick. You got Travis, you got Kane, you got Felix. You're in good hands.
Check them all out. Did you know Twitter was free? You can ask all of them. It's wonderful, and that's what I do. I literally would at them on Twitter if I was interested in a Devi prospect. So I know. If I knew anything about Cameron Ward, it would be what they told me. So, David Shaheen. Hey, Toronto Dave, by the way. I did that while you were talking, but
hey, Dave.
Dave Shaheen. What's up, guys? Not much, man. Sky. Who are your biggest buys and sells at the moment? I mean, like I said, I've just been going back through that. I want to be the guy who says, obviously, just buy these 3 players, but it's disingenuous to the way I play Dynasty, so I can't. It really depends on your situation, what you have, and where your league is at. I can tell you where I think the average is telling me there might be players worth trading for at different positions. But let me sum it up. If I was just going to name a few players per position, Najee Harris is the one I do at running back. Dak Prescott and Lamar Jackson, the ones I like at quarterback. A.J. Brown and Jalen Waddle are the ones I like at wide receiver. And at tight end, it's Travis Kelce and Darren Waller and George Kittle, kind of. But I don't trade for many tight ends, to be honest with you, unless they're coming at steep discounts. But like I was just saying, when I'm going for running backs, I very rarely find myself in a situation where I can go trade for Najee Harris. Normally, I'm trading for Leonard Fournette. I think A.J. Dillon's going to continue to increase in value this offseason, but it's more Fournette, Ezekiel Elliott. these concerned older guys who I still think are going to keep doing it. I think Josh Jacobs kind of makes that list right now. And also 2 running backs who, outside of something happening in the draft, we have no reason to be drafting outside the top 24 running back right now and are. And you won't like it because the running backs I'm actually targeting, you're meant to get that sticky, that's why they're on my list. Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Miles Sanders, both outside the top 24. Like, it would be difficult for them to do that in points. And no one wants them. The value's dropping, so they're actually easier trades. Again, those are guys I normally trade for closer to the season, if that persists. But that's who makes my actual running back buy list. If you want me to name a player, I think it's definitely worth buying in Dynasty at running back. It's just Najee Harris, maybe A.J. Dillon. I'm kind of coming off Travis Etienne. I think the awareness is slightly ticking up. Sorry, David. An aside here. Zach, I noticed Elijah Mitchell's Dynasty rankings dropped significantly. I seem to remember a time he was in the top 12. And I was looking today, and he's like 15, in the 15s, 20s.
Yeah, and so again, you play these fluctuations. It's the Elijah Mitchell. You mentioned AJ Dillon, and these are players that, like, I liked Elijah Mitchell coming out. AJ Dillon, I did not love, but you're going to see value fluctuations in a positive direction once the season starts, because Elijah Mitchell is going to have that backfield unless something just completely uncanny happens in the draft.
The healthy running back is the San Francisco running back. Now, Trey Lance might change that equation a little bit if he gets a start and does what we think he does. But I mean, Jacob Dobbins is doing fine, and Elijah Mitchell is cheaper.
Yeah, and AJ Dillon, I think you're right. I think AJ Dillon has a value rise just because he got a lot of touches last year with that backfield with Aaron Jones. I think you're going to see them. I don't have any idea what Green Bay is going to do for a receiving core, but right now, I think it's Aaron Jones,
right? Yeah, it's Aaron Jones, probably.
Yeah, which means that Dillon will, assume the. Think back a few years ago when everybody was mad because Williams was catching the passes and Aaron Jones was the runner, because we couldn't figure out, Jamal Williams is not as good a pass catcher as Aaron Jones. Well, I think you're going to see a similar thing where, Dillon will get the work and Jones will be the receiving back, and they'll both be fairly valuable, but people will be really excited about the young AJ Dillon. So
it's a really interesting question. We get versions of this. Yeah. We get versions of this in different ways, and I want to make it so simple. It's just these 3 guys. And I think my content would slap harder and people would think I was a genius and like maybe I'd make money at this if I could do it, but it's really disingenuous. I find, to the way I play Dynasty. Like, here's the players I've actually managed to execute trades on at wide receiver. Tim Patrick, Rondale Moore, Tyler Boyd. Those are the ones I've actually managed to trade for. Who am I trying to trade for? Juju Smith-Schuster and Jerry Jeudy. I've struck out in both in every league so far. I will keep trying, but I struck out. Marcus Brown, I mostly have him where it makes sense to have him, but I will take him in a trade if I can. So I think he would make a list for me. It would be Marcus Brown, Jerry Jeudy, and Juju maybe. And I want to tell you to get Devontae Smith, but his value is where it should be, I found in trade, so I struck out. Elijah Moore, I've been warned to wait. So he's on the list, but I haven't sent out any offers yet because Zach's smart and he says to wait, so I'm waiting. Now, the clean answer is A.J. Brown and Jalen Waddle. Those are the guys with the upside I'm really chasing. These guys are mostly point scorers or maybe value increases, which are nice in Dynasty. You're looking for it. But the upside I'm chasing, A.J. Brown and Jalen Waddle. The guys I think I'll fall into, if I fall into them at all, where I don't have them already, Michael Thomas, Keenan Allen, Amari Cooper. But I haven't even tried for any of those guys yet because I just haven't found any lags in my league. Now, in your league, everyone might hate Amari Cooper at this point, or they might hate Keenan Allen. Like, guy just traded for Keenan Allen. I don't think it's a terrible idea. I don't think the value is right. Michael Thomas, I keep seeing such good trades on Michael Thomas, and I'm basically drafting him in every best ball lineup at this point. But no one in my league, I don't want to say is stupid because it's not. It's they play like I play. We know each other. We have similar process. Hooked into the same ideas. And so when I go and I say, "Hey, Michael Thomas isn't worth shit now," they go, "Yeah, he is," and I'm like, "Yeah, I know." And it's just there's not a lot of movement. So can we sum that up for what would we tell David to go explore in his leagues? I would say explore Fournette. I would say explore Elijah Mitchell at running back. Primarily, I think those are the two that stand out to me. And wide receiver, Rondell Moore, because I've actually managed to get trades on him for like a second-round pick. I've seen him go for more, but in my leagues, that's what I got. Elijah Moore we're waiting on. I strongly believe in Jerry Jeudy, but we're keeping him off the list because I struck out. So I really think it's probably A.J. Brown. Yeah, Rondell Moore and A.J. Brown, probably my two biggest targets.
And I also I love this question because of the last three words, at the moment.
Yes,
because
moment,
that is absolutely the way to be looking at this. And if I'm looking at the moment, I'm going to go to the guys in my league.
You're right. I should have just read off the riser section. You're right.
Well, but I'm gonna go to the guys.
I'm so bad at reading, Zach.
In the guys in my league who roster Laviska Shenault and Kadarius Toney, and I don't want Laviska Shenault or Kadarius Toney, but when Laviska Shenault gets traded to Kansas City, and when the Giants figure that they can't draft a wide receiver because they have so many other holes, those two players are going to get talked about a ton because they were darlings last year and the year before in rookie drafts. Like,
I've got to get better at that, man.
And so those are two guys that I don't want on my roster.
Guys that you don't want, but
I want to be able to have them when their value pops.
I was complaining about that to you literally the other day. I was like, I want to roster Gabe Davis somewhere because he's someone I would honestly trade for at a very fair value right now.
But I think Davis is
Terrence Marshall. Actually, that's a guy that I haven't put on my list, but Terrence Marshall.
You don't remember this. You don't remember this, Peter, but 2 years ago, I came on this podcast when Gabe Davis was a rookie about halfway through the season and said you should trade for Gabe Davis now. Nobody's talking about him. He's in Buffalo. He's the third or fourth wide receiver. And when he ends up and then he did, and all of a sudden he had the 4-touchdown game, and everyone's like, he's the wide receiver too. No, he's not. But if you had him on your roster back then, you could have traded him for a first. Yeah, it would have been beautiful.
It is honestly the part of the dynasty that I'm blind because I spend so much time trying to figure out who I think is going to be good, who I think is going to be bad, but people are thinking like it's almost too. And no, I don't want to get stuck with them.
It's the people. It's the people that everybody thought was good that aren't good, but will have that pop where everyone comes back and they're like, "Oh, he's good," and so those two are the players. And then we didn't mention Amon-Ra St. Brown, but he's
players I actually want, players I want to trade. Yeah. Allen Robinson maybe as a casual throw in there. I think he's worth about a second right now. More of a points player. All right, giddy up. Because we really need to giddy up. Good point. Hold on to Zeke or Mike Williams. I'm honestly at the point where I'd trade Mike Williams. I think his value's good for that. I don't think he's going to be a top 12 guy. I think he's a good player, though. And Zeke, I'm on the opposite. Yeah, I'm holding on to Zeke. Yeah. Especially if you're going for the ship next year, I'd still go the same way. I'd trade Mike Williams. I keep Zeke. Looking to swap one plus something for ETN. Can you get ETN for one plus? Woo.
It depends on how much plus.
Yeah. What do you have to add to Mike Williams to get ETN? Actually, I think that's probably pretty straight up right now. Wide receiver. Take the wide receiver. And ETN's value is going to rise. Kind of like that trade as it is.
Yeah.
That's I'm taking that as I'm right. Yep. Kid Coop, how much more on top of Chase Claypool to get a first? If you're trading with me a lot, I would need a first.
Especially in an 8-team league. That's
shoot, good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're adding the first you're trying to get. He's not I don't think that's if you want a 23 first, you're gonna have to add the 201. because otherwise it's just pointless anyway.
Right.
And I don't think anyone takes it. If you're adding a 2022 first, you're essentially paying more for a pick that's a year later, and that's the opposite. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know of a way to make that work in an 8-team league. And probably.
Well, and that's the thing. Like
Yeah.
in an 8-team league, like how often is Claypool cracking your starting lineup? And so, like, if I'm trading in an 8-team league, I'm not trading a potential again in 23. There is potential to have a running back that is a top 5 or 6 running back. There are a couple of or 3 wide receivers that are potential top 12 wide receivers. Chase Claypool is not a potential top 12 wide receiver. Like, no offense to Chase Claypool. He's very tall. He's very Canadian. We like him.
It's incredibly tall.
But yeah, but he's not
invented maple syrup, I hear. No, I mean, that depends on the owner in your league, but to me, my first thought was add a first, but then you're trading a first plus for a first, and that doesn't make sense to me. I think the value is too low. So you're going to have to look at your roster, see if anyone's going to value someone else on your roster that much when you don't like them. Best guess, I'd have to know your roster. Wheeze, what's the highest you'd pay for Fournette in a 5-point PPR league? The highest I would pay? 107, 108. I don't think I have to, but that's
high for me.
I'd probably high.
I'd probably be back into the first, early second. So like 110, 111, 112, 201, 202. And again, I don't think you have to pay a first to get Fournette.
That's the thing. That this question asked me what if I had to. For me, that means Fournette's the only running back who's available. Everyone else has said no to absolutely every possible other trade, and they are only going to accept one trade offer. Like, yes or no, then I would go in at the 108 and feel okay if they said no. But I think you have so many more options than that. You don't have to go up that high, as Zach just said. Toronto Dave, Gladiator, my favorite movie. Are you not entertained? Sean, is Deontay Johnson worth a mid to high 23 first? Everything outside the 104.
Wow, but this is 23 though. 23.
Oh well, then I can't project it. It's a mid first, and
yes, I mean, like probably, yeah.
Yes, but with a everything's fine emoji, yeah. Mainly because, like, if your team's not competitive, don't do it. The first is going to increase in value. Deontay Johnson carries more risk. But if my team's decent, even decent, not it's the best team in the league, yeah, I'll pay a first for a good player who's should be worth more than a single first. That's fine.
He's wide receiver 13 in DLF's, like,
so he should be worth.
Yeah. So like, yes, he is, but it's still, he is.
Yeah. Everything, it's fine. It's fine. This is the exact face I make when people ask me Christian Kirk value. It's like he's fine. It's fine. Yeah, it's fine. Everything's fine. It's fine. Adam C. I traded Burrow and DK Metcalf for Mahomes straight up. Good deal. Burrow and DK Metcalf for Mahomes.
I'd probably rather have the 2 than the 1, but
that's just me. I don't mind selling high on Burrow, but it doesn't feel like you did.
I don't.
It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, I don't overvalue the QB1 in Superflex. Like, I'd rather have like 2 bottom end QB1, so like the QB 10 and the QB 12 or the QB 14, than I would, the QB1 and then a QB 30.
I don't know. I actually looked at this because of a Bob Gilchrist trade he posted once, or question he posted once. I actually think it's more like tight end, like inside the top 5. Like, it's better to play. What did I look at? It's like if you're playing the quarterback 4, I think it was, and the quarterback 17, you are averaging more points per game than the quarterback 13 and the quarterback 15. And so my general instinct. I'd rather have the 2. It's fine, and win at other positions. But if I have a clear choice, I would rather have the top 5 quarterback. I don't think that difference is DK Metcalf though.
Right.
Like, I don't think they're. Where do you have Burrow in Dynasty? It's like QB
He's gonna be like 6 or 7 or 8. Yeah, I mean, like
Yeah.
he's right in that kind of
He's fine.
range.
He's in that mid tier. Yeah.
It depends on how much you like Trey Lance, Peter. No, I'm just kidding.
I can't. I'm Trey Lance dad. Did I just hear top 5 upside? I love that. Yes, you did, Connor. Thank you.
I mean, Burrow finished a point per game lower than Mahomes last year. Period.
Yeah, that's the thing about Mahomes. Like, it's actually Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, and Mahomes hasn't actually been that difference-making. I mean, it's great, but it's not that difference-making scorer that we all fell in love with. It's actually been Josh Allen. Don't quote me. Love the shirt, Zach. R.I.P. tags. Damn right. I have a good shirt on, not nearly as good, but like I thought this one. I tend towards the blues, and they just blend in on me. So I thought it'd go. But yours is clearly superior. I don't have that one.
Oh, I had to go get this. Yeah, I had to go.
I just realized I should because I did go get it. Anyway, Jacob Calloway, 106 and 107, and the 111 for the 102 and the 203. So 3 firsts, mid to late, essentially, for the 102. I think that's a lot.
It is a lot. But
he has the 101.
Yeah.
I'd like to trade up to get both. Hey, why not? Get both. Wallen Willis. I respect the idea for sure. Actually, I don't think it's terrible.
I would try, and maybe you've tried this already, Jacob, but I would try instead of the bigger package, I would try to break things down and try to go like 106 and 111 to get up to 102, or if I had to go 106 and 107 to get up to 102, but like giving up all 3 of those shots, as much as I want to be up in the top 4 in this class, I would exhaust all my options before I did that.
I think that's a good idea. I always treat it like this is a counter offer, like you accept it or you don't. And we don't know if it is. I think that's fair. I would start off with a 6 and a 7 straight up for the 102. It seems so high to me, like multiple firsts for a single, but it's absolutely in the right ballpark. And I like the idea, like get the 2 players you feel pretty confident with this year. Like I think that's a good idea. Aaron was offered 109 and the 206 for the 105 today. Pass.
No, I'd rather have the 105, but whatever.
Rather have the 105. Even though there is a chance I could get someone from the same tier at 109. Yeah, there is. If QBs fall in between, definitely. I turned it down, and my mid-second isn't strong enough. Thoughts? No, I agree. Yeah. I'd rather stay in that closer tier. This is very tiery class. And you don't want to really tear down. I have seen people play it the opposite, and I respect it because it's very much a call your shot class. If you think you're going to do a good job, like I've seen Casey Kasem. Speaking of which, I think I said her name right this time for the first time ever. Sorry, Casey.
You got it.
She's been like trading back a little bit to get multiple in the same tier, and it's definitely a good idea. But I know that 5 is a very different tier for me than the 9. So I would stick with 5. That's the way I'm playing this class. I'd rather go up than down.
Yeah. But if you can get, going back to Jacobs, if you could get like 3, I don't mind that because, again, you're casting that bigger net in a class where we're not as confident. This is a class where you're either fly fishing. No, sorry. You're either fly fishing and you know that you're trying to land that trout, you're trying to land that, the top 4 pick, or you're gill netting and you want as many picks as you can because you know there's a fish in there, but you don't know which one.
No, and that's essentially what I was going to say. You see, Jacob's going to offer basically a big net in that late first round, and this guy's offering you just one other shot in that late first round. That's a different thing. I think you had the right decision there. I appreciate you, Aaron. Thank you. Jay Jordan, are you also down on Trevor? Yes, I am. I'm concerned. I don't, and in this case, it's not about the player. I think if there's I'll take Travis May saying if Trevor Lawrence isn't a good quarterback, we don't know what a good quarterback looks like. I heard him say that once, and I trust I trust Travis, so maybe we don't know what it looks like, which is honestly how I feel. And but it's not about Lawrence at this point. That situation is just bad. You know,
I think we get so caught up in, and it's not just the metrics community, not just the analytics community, but I think all of us, we get so caught up in thinking it's really simple to predict what's going to happen.
Right.
And it's not. And it's not.
And I'm a bear at heart. If there is uncertainty, I'm always going to fade away from it. That's what it is with Lawrence. I'm bearing it. And really rooting for the player. I normally am, to be honest.
Absolutely.
But, I mean, if he overcomes it, we need to give him like a special gold star because he's going to have to. It will be impressive. But yeah, I'm kind of bearish on him. FF Lefty, love the show, guys. Are we sending 104 for a 23 first in Superflex? No, it has to be below the 104. Straight up.
The 104 is the line. It's the 105 that I will trade away.
Yeah. People are down on Burks, by the way, according to Jesse Reeve, Stream of Fame.
I mean, I saw, and I don't know who this guy is, but at NFL Draft Talker, quote tweet Jesse Reeves calling Treylon Burks N'Keal Harry, and this NFL Draft Talker said, no, the one that you're looking at that looks like N'Keal Harry is actually Drake London. And I said, I can't say anything about that.
Dare we compare the things that are actually useful to compare instead of just going randomly off of size metrics? Wow. What a guy. That draft talker. You must have spent a lot of time talking to someone to figure that one out. I don't know. Salvatore, trade Mike Evans, Chuba Hubbard, which is just an awesome name. And a 2022 fourth for Hollywood Brown and a 23 second.
I think this year,
second.
Yeah, this year Mike Evans is going to score more points. Long term, that's a good trade. Oh no, yeah. Mike Evans is going to have a very good year. That may be the buy. He's going to have a really good year.
Yeah, that's probably a good point. But I want the Brown side. I don't care. I think I'm contractually obligated. The contract I wrote with myself in crayon to always take the Hollywood Brown side. And traded Javonte Williams for the 103, Christian Kirk and Michael Carter. Thoughts? Not enough.
I think you could have got more. I mean, it's not bad. You got the
103.
You got
That's
a top
what
20,
you got. You got the 103.
You got a top 24 running back.
No,
you got the 103, which may be a great wide receiver. I mean, you don't know. And
you got a boat. You traded a boat for a mystery boat. I'm sorry. The 103 is a great mystery boat. Like, it's a pretty high mystery boat. But I think Christian Kirk and Mike Carter are just kind of whatever.
But I don't mind trading Javonte Williams as a practice because I think that I
don't mind the energy here. I like if you're higher on Michael Carter than I am, then it's great.
The upside of Javonte Williams is huge, but nobody is talking about the downside of Javonte Williams. If Melvin Gordon ends up back there, if they draft, like, it's not just going to be Javonte Williams in that backfield. It's not.
And how long it's going to take, and what we will feel like when it does happen. Like, this was, I feel like Austin Eckler, but he was too low drafted. I'm trying to remember the example of a guy we literally did this with. High draft capital, great player. We continually waited, and then by the time it happened, we were like, man, kind of over it. You know what I mean? I can't remember who that was. It'll come to me like next year or something. But I feel like we've done this before.
I mean, even Fournette,
C.J. Anderson. No, he was low drafted.
Fournette was that guy though. Fournette was
kind of that guy.
Like, he was a top 3 dynasty pick in a rookie draft. Everybody thought he was going to be great. He came out in a class with a couple other really good running backs. Didn't really do what everyone expected for the first 2 or 3 years. And
I remember that one run though.
was in a backfield with TJ Yeldon. So TJ Yeldon
yes,
stealing touches. And
yes.
And then all of a sudden TJ Yeldon got shipped to Buffalo and the rest of his backfield got hurt and Fournette was great. Like I came on with you before the Scott Fishbowl and told people this is Leonard Fournette's year. He's going to be a top 6 or 8 running back, and you're getting him in the 3rd round. And he was like the running back 3 that year. He had 100 receptions. It was stupid. Like I don't even know 100
Wouldn't
targets.
That be wouldn't that be Javonte Williams right now though, or are you saying next year?
Well, no. Like I think that it took Fournette a few years to get a backfield, and I think that we're at a point now where like people are so excited about Javonte Williams that they're not looking at that potential.
The price is right, but the downside still exists. It's like you're paying for it if it already happened, almost like a Trey Lance kind of a thing.
You're not baking in the risk.
Not bakering in risk. I don't know.
That's the one.
Silence and Lamb with Amari Cooper gone. He still exists, but I got you. Lamb being the unquestioned wide receiver 1. I got questions, but I'm really high on him. That's fine. See how I gotta put a caveat and everything. I'm gonna stop that right now. We're stopping it. For the Cowboys, could he join Chase Jefferson in that top? He's in that top tier in dynasty value right now.
Yeah.
Could he do it in points? Yes. Statistically, you're gonna hear everyone that does it through statistics say he probably won't, but I could definitely see him doing it, and I'd rather be in and have it happen than have it not happen than miss out on it. Kind of a take. I'm not gonna go against him, but it's weird. I think he's gonna do it.
I will be happier if Dallas signs or drafts another wide receiver who can play on the outside as their primary role, because I love when CeeDee Lamb gets shifted into the slot. Mm-hmm. He is so good at that, and he was great
Isn't
his
that
rookie
Gallup,
year.
Though?
No, Gallup. Well, Gallup is an outside guy. Gallup is a downfield outside guy. But if they had one more, I would be so much happier. Well, because it was the Amari Cooper did a lot of work out of the slot. CeeDee Lamb did quite a bit of work out of the slot. But, when you go 3 wide, it was kind of whoever was going to be there. But if you ended up with your 3rd wide receiver was primarily an outside receiver to shift Lamb inside, man, I would love that. Absolutely.
FF Lefty absolutely has the talent too, but I'm slightly concerned he didn't take it. I'm not. See, that's the part where I'm not concerned. Like,
Amari Cooper's
being anti-vacated targets, it seems natural for me to not like CeeDee Lamb. He only got to a 17% target share, but I think that's just underrating what Amari Cooper is, frankly.
Yeah.
I think he did exceptionally well next to an Amari Cooper, like adjusting for his situation. I think CeeDee Lamb did just about everything we could hope for. Also means he's probably not Jefferson.
No.
But I'm fine with that. Like, not hardly anyone is.
But you've also had 2 years of Dak getting hurt and then Dak
it's been a rough
not being quite Dak. So it'll be interesting to see how this shakes.
Yeah. I'd rather be in than out on Lamb. That's where I'm at. But he's a hard it's hard to buy. Because, literally, you can't get a higher price wide receiver in Dynasty right now. If you can get him cheap or less than 3 first-round picks, yeah, sure. Is Elijah Moore and the 2020 first hype? Elijah Moore on the 23 first hype is out of control. But with the Jets likely to draft a wide receiver early, would you trade away CeeDee Lamb for Moore and a likely 23 112? No. CeeDee Lamb's worth more than that. Yeah. And honestly, this is the thing about bubbles, Kyle. I hear the exact opposite all day. Like, Elijah Moore's bad, the Jets are bad. Elijah Moore isn't worth a first. And I'm following Zach's advice, which is when we think they will draft a wide receiver, then trade for Elijah Moore. Yeah. That's where I'm at on Elijah Moore. But it's interesting because you're experiencing an entirely different world of Elijah Moore than I am. Like, I see almost no one hyping Elijah Moore anymore.
I mean, he's wide receiver 16. It's not like Like
But Kyle's living in a different world, which means that his market, his league might be different, you know? But yeah, I think that's interesting. But that's how I'd play it. I want Elijah Moore a first or less, preferably, obviously. Outside of that, I'd play the wait game. And CD Lamb's worth way more than the single, especially a projected 112, whatever. Thanks for the answer in advance. He's talking
half an hour, Bob. Half an hour. The answer is half an hour.
That's not terrible. That's pretty good for us. I mean, probably because we got 40 people in here right now. It's a little lower than usual without Outhouse, without that gorgeous fantasy man in here. It's understandable. But yeah, I think half an hour's pretty good for it. Weaves, is Elijah Mitchell, Gabe Davis, and the 212 too light for ETN and got it? Too heavy? And no, I take that back. It's basically Mitchell for ETN and got it for me. So,
right,
yeah, but they might like Gabe Davis.
That's the thing. The community likes Gabe Davis. I think that's pretty close to even. And I would take the ETN and Goddard side and then potentially flip ETN.
Yeah. Goddard's entering an interesting year for his upside, to be honest. Frank N, good evening, gents. No questions this week. Oh, okay. Especially after my 3-4 last week. Ask as many as you want. There's no limit, but appreciate it. But wishing you guys a great show. Anyway, thanks, Frank. Really appreciate that. Thoughts on Jalen Hurts for Superflex Dynasty? More of a buy than anything else because I want those points.
Yeah.
Fox Valley Wrestling. Hey, we got like an entire organization. No, not funny. Okay. Rebuild or contender? He's got the number. I don't know what this means. No 22 or 23 picks. Okay. But up against two teams loaded with running back ones and wide receiver 1 and 2s. Decent roster. Mahomes, Hurts, well, excellent. Mixon, good. CEH, Penny, Carson, Henderson, Tyreek, MT, Kittle, got it. You're built to go for it, but I don't see where the value's coming from to improve. So It feels like, yeah, you're in that nasty halfway because you've got amazing quarterbacks. It's a super flex. You've got the quarterbacks. You're looking for wide receivers. I would say you're building. I'd be trading to build.
Yeah, but don't trade.
But I don't know what you can do.
Don't trade now.
You've got to wait to trade those running backs. Yeah, you got to wait.
Absolutely. Wait until you're in season. And there's a really good show on the Dynasty Dummies feed. It was J Mike did the show. And I interviewed him and he talked about gauging where you are at different points in the season. And so breaking it up into like the first 4 games and the next 4 games and getting out ahead of it. So if you can identify teams that are looking like they are doing well and you're not, start targeting, start sending off Mixon, start sending off Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Hope that Penny ends up in the backfield with in Seattle. Hope he ends up back there, and then you can trade him. Tyreek Hill. I mean, all of these.
I think Henderson's going to bring you some sort of picks back in season. Yeah. I think CEH will as well, and he wouldn't right now. Mixon will in season anyway. Yeah. I like a lot of your players, man. I don't think you're going to look bad, but I would be, as they start scoring points, trying to trade them because they're going to be valuable when they're scoring points. And Mahomes might be the exception here, and if you want to commit to it, you can start seeing what you could get from Mahomes, but I don't think you have to. Joe McCarter, did Brady kick Bruce Arians out of the head coaching job? I don't think so. No, but that's an interesting.
I feel like Arians would.
Oh, you're not retiring? I'm retiring. I can't do this again. No, I know one. Maybe it was contractually obligated. One of them had to retire, but no. Fox Wrestling. Thanks, appreciate you. No problem, man. Thank you. What have you been offering for Juju? Not enough, apparently. I've been offering the value of a first-round pick for Juju because that seemed to be where my Twitter polls were coming in. Late first, mid first. So I was trying to make up that value because I don't have any and send it, and it wasn't working. It was like a second plus good, decent wide receiver. There's just no go. Judy, I was kind of offering the same kind of trades, to be honest with you. I don't have a lot of draft picks, and that's a problem when you want to trade for these types of, worth a first wide receivers.
I had somebody offer me Juju for a 23 first, and I stone cold declined it. Like, I'm not interested in taking the risk that Juju
I think
isn't.
I think everyone thinks his value is a first, but those who have him won't trade him for that, and those who don't have him won't trade more than that. Although they are in some leagues. I mean, I'm in our Discord, Patreon Discord. It's lit. Get in there for the whole price of $1. On Twitter, everywhere, the trades I'm seeing happen. You can actually look that up on DLF. They're worth a lot more than that. It's a first plus this other really interesting one. It's a first plus Ayuk. That seems heavy to me, and I love Juju. Trade Finder. I'm gonna look that up while we talk. Weez, I don't think I could move Tim Patrick for a third in my leagues. That's what I'm doing. I paid a third in a few of my leagues for Tim Patrick because I want some Tim Patrick, and a third is meaningless to me.
Weaves, if you have Tim Patrick on your team, don't move him for a third. If you don't have Tim Patrick on your team, offer a fourth, and if they turn it down, go get him for a third. Like that.
And be clear, it's because I think he's going to be flex worthy. I'm not projecting the next Adam Thielen. I think he's going to start for you instead of paying more for a sleeper that's going to do the same thing.
Yeah. And again, that offense should be better.
Here's some trades for Juju Smith-Schuster, according to Trade Finder on DLF, fairly recent. Tyreek Hill for Juju, Noah Gray, tight end in Kansas City. The 109, the 309, the 409, and a second. So it's a first, a second, and Juju for Tyreek Hill. I don't mind that one, actually, but I don't have those things to trade. Amari Cooper, Dallas Goedert, and a third for Juju, and a third, and a first. That's Juju and a first for Amari Cooper and Dallas Goedert, essentially. And I prefer the Juju side there, too. Justin Fields and Juju Smith-Schuster for Trey Lance and Terry McLaurin. You probably hate that in a Superflex, right?
What was it?
Fields and Juju for Trey Lance and McLaurin.
I don't hate that. I mean, I think I'd still rather have the Lance and McLaurin side, but that's close.
Juju in a second for a 23 first. I think that's fair too. I'd take the Juju side there. Diggs for Tua Tagovailoa. Yeah.
Nice.
Juju and Amon-Ra St. Brown. I love the Juju side there, actually. And I love I like Stephen Diggs a lot, obviously. Cooks and Pittman. I like this trade. For Juju, 2 seconds and a first. That's killer trade. See, I can't.
Was that Brandon Cooks?
I haven't been. Yeah, Brandon Cooks and Michael Pittman.
Yeah,
I would Juju.
I would take the Juju side on that hard. Yeah.
See, all the trades I see, like, oh wow, I better go send offers for Juju, and I just don't seem to be able to make up this value with what I have in my roster. What I have to do is go trade CeeDee Lamb or AJ Brown for Juju plus, and I'm not ready to do that because I will be looking at those trades when I'm trying to add running backs later. And so I'm just kind of in a holding pattern, but I think his value is decent, and I normally favor the Juju side. Joe Herbert, Green Bay management just said they are getting faster is a team priority. I expect that not to be a trait they will look for. They will look for a wide receiver, but Rodgers will want an excellent route runner.
Yeah, probably. So you're looking at one of the guys from Ohio State,
George Pickens. Don't you think could fit that bill?
Yeah, although I'm not sure that he's. Yeah, I mean maybe. I think. Not
going to speculate.
Yeah.
Jerry, which of these Georgia running backs are we looking to draft in the early second of rookie drafts? Zamir White or James Cook? I remembered their first names off the top of my head. That's how you know I'm professional. And honestly, neither of them has spiked up high in my interest. I've heard their names a lot on Twitter. Maybe they'll find interesting landing spots and I'll look again, but they're not these aren't the running backs I'm looking for, kind of a thing.
It all depends on landing spot, draft capital, that sort of thing. I think that the chances of Cook being more productive, I think that's higher than Zamir White, because I think Zamir White has to take command of a backfield to be productive, whereas James Cook can be the pass catcher in a backfield and be productive. Zamir White's not really much of a pass catcher. The real answer for me is I am looking at Brian Robinson, not a Georgia running back, the Alabama running back. I think he is being vastly underrated right now, and I think you're going to see him go higher in the NFL draft than people think right now.
Yeah, I have other running backs I'm interested in that range, is the honest answer. Who do I have higher? I have White higher. I have White higher than Cooks, but I could take Zach's point. They're both in.
I got them back to back. Yeah.
Here's my notes. Zamir White, I don't know, sure, I guess. Joshua Corbin, but interesting moments, and then James Cook. Nepotism class. Okay, I don't know. I didn't even know that. I used to know that, apparently. James Cook kind of sucks, but did have 20 receptions his last year. The NFL loves the idea of people loves the idea people are actually horses, and
their bloodlines. Good sire.
Could be all over his pedigree. I really do. I don't know. It's not like trigger warning. Oh, that's not a thing you should say about humans. But it does feel just fucking weird to describe.
Yeah.
It just feels like I wouldn't use the same. Like those words don't occur to me when I'm thinking about people. It's not a bad thing or anything, I don't think. But it's just weird. Like my dad was an excellent football player. I was average at best. I just never thought about it that way. Weaves, concerns with Dobbins reportedly behind the ACL rehab. I hadn't heard that.
We're still early, though. I mean, it's March. Almost April. But I'm concerned with Dobbins playing in a backfield with Lamar Jackson, who is a running quarterback who doesn't necessarily use the running backs out of the backfield in the passing game.
Yeah.
That's my concern with Dobbins, and the ACL doesn't help.
I assume he can come back from it, but we're not insiders. I'm not like buddies with his doctor or anything, so I don't know. Jeremy, if Hill is used like Debo, shouldn't that increase his stock? Hill will be used like Hill, and that will be just fine. I think the question is if Tua can supply it, and I think Hill can make hay either way, honestly. Because again, I think that relationship is too complicated to say it's overly dependent, overly not. I don't expect him to I just don't think that is how it works. I don't think Hill hasn't been rushing because the team was like, "Oh, we don't need to do that." It's because that's not what Hill does.
Hill made Alex Smith the best deep ball thrower in the NFL for a year after Alex Smith spent 6 years in the NFL throwing the ball 4 yards past the line of scrimmage. Like that's
what I was trying to say, but
Tyreek Hill. Let's go.
Adam C. Trey Sermon is one of those players.
I don't know what kind of players, but not good.
Yeah, the no value players. Hopefully, there's no value players. Weaves took over an orphan that won in 2021. Nice. Would you move CD and the 23 first for Cup?
And Cousins. Yes.
And a super flex, I'm guessing.
Yes. If it's I would.
So you're giving away CD and a first for Cup.
And Cousins.
I mean, Cousins makes a difference. Oh.
Yeah. The 23 first. Fine. The 23 first for Cousins is fair, and then Cup for CD. I mean,
it's fine. Yeah, you're trying to win. You're trying to win at the end of the day.
Well, and I guess it took over an orphan. If you're competing, if your orphan is competitive, then yes. If you're looking at your orphan and CD Lamb is your best player, then no, because Cup and Cousins are not going to make the difference to get you over the hump. And I'd rather have a higher 23 first. If your team is good.
No, I appreciate that because I didn't like saying trade CD. So, yeah, that's cool. Nico Collins or Russell Gage for a 12-team Superflex PPR. Who do you keep?
Gage.
I want to trade both of them, but that's not the question you're asking. I definitely keep Gage here. I
Yeah,
don't
he's
I
tied to
don't know
Tom
why
Brady.
folks feel
Yeah,
Nico
Gage.
Collins has any value.
Yeah.
I just don't understand sleepers anymore because I just don't do that.
I saw the greatest, and I think it was Jared Wackerly, but it might have been Price, Dynasty Price, uh, say, I'm so tired of watching deep players who will never be any good, never make any impact in fantasy. And I was like, absolutely. I watched 50 players and I'm like, nope, I'm good. I appreciate
Yeah.
you, but I'm good.
I guess that's where I came to in the rookies. It's like I'm sure there might be a gem down here, but it's almost not worth it at this point. The way people grind out, like, we'll hear about him before it happens.
Absolutely.
Louis Sandoval, Aaron Jones, Rondo Moore, or a first round 2023 and a 2022 201. So it's Aaron Jones, Rondo Moore for a first in 2023 and a very high second in 2022. The second and more about even for me. The first and Aaron Jones, the first wins. So I guess I'll take the pick side.
Yeah, I think that's spot. But again, it depends on if you're competing this year. Maybe Aaron Jones tips it in that.
Yeah,
favor,
that's the thing. I want Aaron Jones and Rondo Moore, but yeah. Sorry, I don't mean to keep interrupting you when you're saying smart things. Joe McCarter, 208 and a 23 second and a third for AJ Dillon. Yes. It will be worth more than that package combined.
Absolutely.
Yes. Joe Herbert, Jeremy Hill is not going to be used like Debo. Hill is too small. That's not the okay. Fine, yeah, but at least he's saying the same thing. Too small. Logs on, Jags football talk. Logs off. That's fair. I think that's fair. Nonsense, Steve. Appreciate it.
Did Jags football? Did we do that?
We were talking about Lawrence. That was a while ago, but yeah. Obviously not Debo. That's what Hill said he could take his rushing attempts. Yeah, he can rush more, and it still won't make him Debo. It's just become so much not how I view players. It's not that because that doesn't bear out in the practice or the predictability or the usability or what they're able to keep. It doesn't work. Could he rush more? Sure. Why are you thinking he might rush more? Because he's slightly short and fast, and that's the two things that we know about Debo. That's just not a thing.
As an NFL team, why would you want to put him? Why would you want to put him in positions where he could conceivably get injured? But there's more of a chance of him getting injured for a piece that is secondary to his game. So that's not his best asset. His best asset is go down the field and make everybody fly around in his vapor trail.
I think the reason it's tempting is they think that's why Debo's good, and I would take a second look. That is not why Debo's good.
Yeah.
We don't need him to rush for Debo to be a top 12 wide receiver. Crazy. He will rush, obviously, because that's his game, but we don't need it. I blame BMI Twitter. It doesn't matter what the question is. Yeah, basically. Very blamey. Basaltzberg. That's the way I'm saying that. Are you comforting rolling out Pat Fairmouth and start as your starting tight end each week, 12-team Superflex? No, he's not in that tier where I think he's an every week starter. I think he could blossom into that maybe one day if we're real lucky, but no, I don't think he's an every week starter. I think he's one that you stream a little bit with.
Yeah.
That seem fair?
Yeah, that's absolutely fair.
And to be fair, you can stream with Zach Ertz and Hooper, and then you find, I don't know, like Jimmy Graham on the waiver wire that 1 week. But yeah. Sean, traded Metcalf for Evans and a 23 first after the Russ Brady news. Thoughts? Future-wise, I like
that. Yeah.
But like Zach said, Evans is going to have a good year, and that first is going to increase in value.
No, he said he traded Metcalf for Evans 23 first. First. So, I like that. I'd rather have Evans in the
Metcalf couldn't bring that right now. Probably he's kind of dropping.
Yeah,
you might be able to trade him back for less. I'm just saying. Joe Herbert, he's talking to Jeremy, trying to catch up. Moving on, and Nonsense Steve. Jerry will draft Burks because he can't help himself. Yeah, probably. I mean, it sounds like a Jerry move. Rob Downs, Manny Sanders makes sense for Dallas. Have we heard anything about it? He's not a free agent or anything, is he?
I would have to check. Yeah, he's got to be gone because he was in Buffalo. He's got to be gone from there because everyone's talking about your boy Gabe Davis being the guy.
Miles Sanders?
No, Manny Sanders, not Miles. Two different Sanders.
Oh, I immediately thought that was Emmanuel Sanders. I did not go there.
Yeah.
No, yeah. Sure. And I think he can do a job there. Not particularly fantasy relevant job, but he'll do a football job. Steven Sports Cards, trade just hit my inbox. 12 team. Well, this is probably an hour ago, so sorry, Steven. Just hit my inbox. 12 team Superflex PPR. Tua Swift and MT for Dak and a top half 23 first.
I'd rather have Tua Swift than Thomas.
Yeah, especially since that top half 23 first is just a mid first to me until we get closer to the season. So yeah.
Yep.
Michael Hogan, 12 team 1 QB, the 101, the 105, the 108, the 109. Outside of Brees, do you guys value wide receiver over running back? Yes. Most, as a general rule, I do. But there are at least 3 running backs in this class that I think are remarkably interesting. Brees Hall being the standout. And there's a couple of deeper guys, like Zach mentioned Brian Robinson. I think he's interesting. I think Rashad White's really interesting. Lower down, we've got Tyler Batty. I think someone's going to notice him. Sincere McCormick doesn't really make that list. But yeah, there are running backs I like and would favor over many of my depth wide receivers. But if we're talking in this 5 to 9 range, I probably prefer the wide receivers there.
Well, I mean, to me, it depends on landing spot for running back, and it depends on the running backs that are there. If Kenneth Walker falls to
I'm assuming Walker and Spiller are gone.
108, then man, that's exciting. If he doesn't, then yeah, I mean, you're going to end up with so 101, obviously, probably Brees Hall, but then you've got Burks, you got Wilson, you got Pickens, you got Bell, you got Drake London, you got Olave, but you're also still talking Spiller and Kenneth Walker in that same range. So,
my wide receiver list is shorter than that, but I assume that Walker and Spiller go by the 105. So at the 105, I might lean. If one of them is available and the draft goes okay, I think I might lean towards them. But the 8 and 9, I've got Burks if he's gone. I've got Wilson if he's gone. I don't mind Olave. Then it pretty much shortcuts to Pickens, David Bell.
Yep.
I'd value those over the next set of running backs I'm interested in. Again, all my ranks are posted in my public databasey thingy. If you don't want to fool the database, it's just a link in my ranks. I'm going to add a draft board after the NFL draft as well. He's talking to Joe. We get to skip that one. Sorry, Jeremy. Randy, sorry. So first of 2 trades. Swift, Craig Reynolds.
There's the backup for Swift.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Not the Seattle Mariners second baseman from
that's who
90s.
I was thinking of.
Yeah, I knew you were.
107 and a 23 first. It's 2 firsts for Swift, basically. I think that's low.
Yeah.
I'm into it. I would counter, but I'm into it. But it's too low, right? I think we're agreeing. The second trade was 107 and 208 for Damian Harris and a 23 first.
I think you won that one
because
you got the 20
some value. Yeah,
but he got the 23 first for the 107, so I'd take that.
I would take that.
So he ended up getting 2 23 firsts and Damian Harris for Swift, Craig Reynolds, and the 208.
Yeah.
No, the 107 he got it and then traded it, so it didn't matter.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
That didn't factor. Yeah.
Nice.
So
that's why you're around here, so it actually makes sense. New York Fight Exchange. What do you think about the value of Davis Mills? Too low. I think they're happy with building around him. Yeah, I think he's got the starting job. I think he's gonna do pretty well with the starting job, actually, like he did last year. Superflex, he's one of those lower quarterbacks you can get every year that's fine. He's fine to start in a Superflex. I think he's really interesting. Should I move Higgins for Devontae Smith and a 23 first?
Yes, I would. I'd take Smith and a 23 first for Higgins all day.
I'm so used to so much T. Higgins hype that it feels low, but yeah, I think this is about right. The more I run my brain over it, yeah, I think that's fair.
I mean, look, if Smith becomes what I think he should become, he is. You're going to win that on just Smith. If he doesn't, you're still going to win it because you got a wide receiver 2 and a 23 first. I think. I'd take T. Higgins on Mitchell. Yeah, T. Higgins over Mitchell by a lot.
Wild T. Higgins values. Yeah, Elijah Mitchell or T. Higgins is T. Higgins by a lot.
Try to go get a 23 first and Devontae Smith for Elijah Mitchell.
Apparently, yeah. Mills will be reevaluated after this season. Yeah, he's going to have the job. And honestly, I'm not a quarterback evaluator, but from the things I look at, he seemed to be pretty decent at the job. I know he's got a long neck and all. Looks a little too much like Josh Lockey or whatnot, but I think he was pretty good. That neck's useful. You get to see over the defensive line. I've been told that's useful. Definitely T for me. Yeah, for sure. Should I send the 204, 301 and a 23 first for Mike Williams, Melvin Gordon, and a no, I don't want any of those things. And you're giving up a first.
Nah. Contending this year, no, still not. You can get better than that contending for. Send your 204 for Fournette, and you've done you've done better than that.
That's better than Melvin Gordon, and that first can bring a much better wide receiver than Mike Williams. That makes sense. I hate the way it makes it. Mike Williams is no good. That's not what I'm saying. But you can get a higher value wide receiver.
Yeah.
Joe Nick, that guy was DPD with Pats when they were thinking about drafting Mills.
Yep.
Caserio,
director of player development. Yes, Caserio.
Oh, so there's
Peter. You're a Pats fan. Come on.
You know I'm just pretending right now. I'm not investing my time in coaches. Just not. Hi, Peter and Zach. No problem. You can say hi second. It's fine. I didn't take it personally. It's fine. No. Welcome back. How does Watson affect Kareem Hunt? I haven't had any thoughts. Like Kareem Hunt's good. If he plays, I think that's good for Kareem Hunt too.
Yeah.
Just raw football. Thanks, guys. You rock. Thank you, man. Appreciate that. Could you read this one for me? I got to change this song. It sounds like terrible. It's
12-team Superflex PPR tight end premium. Evan Ingram and Trey Sermon for Melvin Gordon and Brevin Jordan. This is one where you just you know the Grandpa Simpson gif where he walks in, looks around, puts his hat on the coat rack, walks around again, takes his hat, and then walks back out the door. That's this trade. I'd rather have Evan Ingram, but
I was gonna say I'd rather have Evan Ingram, but Melvin Gordon's probably a better starter for some of the year.
Yeah.
But yeah, I probably Ingram, I guess. But everyone's just trading depth at this point. Fox Valley Wrestling started collecting 2023 draft picks. Good idea. And I have 5 first round. Okay. Your league's going to quit in about a year, but that's cool. 6 second rounders. Is the 23 class really as good? Doesn't really matter. But I think there's going to be a lot of good. I don't do Devy, and even I know of at least one wide receiver that's going to make having draft picks worth it next year. Like easy to spot, top tier wide receiver who you want, and that's not nothing already.
I think Fox Valley, if that is your real name, when we talk as a community about good classes, we're talking top end. We're talking, a couple of quarterbacks. Yeah, we're talking a couple of quarterbacks we're talking 3 or 4 running backs, and we're talking 3 or 4 wide receivers that are going to be, easy to identify as very good difference makers. Will they all hit? No, but most of them look like right now they will. I mean, you've got at least 3 receivers that I can point to, and at least 3 running backs that I can point to that are better than anything in this class. So yeah, I think you've done good.
And from a dynasty perspective, honestly, it doesn't matter because they're already about worth the same, and that's going to get more hype the closer we get to class. Now, it has happened that this hype has surrounded a class, and then the class studied out, and the value dropped off before the draft. And, I mean, lots of things can happen, but we can't actually predict the future. We can just go with the best of what's most likely to happen, and so I think it's a really solid process. I mean, I know a guy who literally took the entire first round in a league, and
I've heard of him.
Yeah, I heard of that guy. Mayday, Pixel Day for me.
We're still talking
Jeremy.
about Tyreek Hill.
Yep, Hill said that he will be used like Debo in his interview. I mean, cool. It kind of look. Here's the thing. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying it doesn't matter. However he's used, he's a good player. He's going to be used heavily. He's going to get the volume, and he's going to perform on the volume. And not having Mahomes sucks, but he can still do good things with the volume that comes his way. He already rushes. He already spent a lot of time on special teams. In college, he was a utility player. It's not like I'm suspecting he doesn't have the skill set. I just suspect that this is suggesting he gets his target share and also 10% of the rushing attempts. And I think if you're looking for upside that's not necessary to project, he already has that upside as what he has been. But it will be interesting to see, I guess. The NFL is getting a little bit more creative. That's for sure. Metcalf or Juju, the 103, the 203, and the 303. Juju and the 103.
Yeah, I think I'm taking the Juju side, and then I'm going to go turn around and see if I can get somebody like Brandon Cooks with one of those later picks and then be real happy with my team.
Yep. See, I'm told that Metcalf's value is falling, and then a trade like that drops in the chat. That's pretty good. Jeremy Hill said, he's saying it again. Frolicking Heifer. Nice to see you again. Thanks, guys. Trade Tyreek or Devontae Adams, and what running back should I target? We talked about this a little bit earlier. I'm not really targeting running backs right now. If I were to tell you one running back to target, because I think his value is decent and his points are good, it's Najee Harris. I think Christian McCaffrey and Saquon Barkley have concerns, obviously, but I'm in. And then we had that value list we mentioned earlier. Fournette's clearly the easiest dynasty buy to me right now, just for points, but it's a points play, so it depends what your team's looking like. Nowhere close to Tyreek or Adams' value. But if you're asking what running back do I trade straight up, I don't think you get them.
Yeah.
The only running backs I'm interested in for a Tyreek or a Devontae Adams are Jonathan Taylor, Najee Harris, end list. After that, I need pluses. And I don't think the JT owner or the Najee Harris owner, maybe.
I don't think so.
I don't think
I don't think you're getting there with.
I don't think so.
And of the two of those guys, I would trade Devontae Adams before I would trade Tyreek Hill, which seems a little bit contrarian. But that's where I would go. Is it okay? So maybe it's not contrarian, but I think I'm a lot more confident in Tyreek Hill.
It's contrarian. Don't let me take that from you. I'm just also contrarian. We all get
that's fine. We're standing over here.
We're different. No, I think that's fair. What running backs would I target in Dynasty? Fournette, Josh Jacobs, Ezekiel Elliott, Miles Sanders, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. That's my list right now. If you want players that are going to rise in value, like we talked about earlier, it's ETN, I think Antonio Gibson, Elijah Mitchell, AJ Dillon. Those are the type of running backs I'm interested in right now. If you want to trade for your stud this year, I just wait.
Yeah.
With those players. And I'd be more inclined to trade Devontae Adams. Jackson P. Keep trade cut. ETN, Mitchell, Claypool.
Mitchell trade. Yeah, keep Mitchell trade ETN when his value goes up and cut Claypool right now.
There you go. Nice and neat. Gavin Grant, Aaron Jones or Miles Sanders, and a 23 the first.
The first
probably wins.
Yep.
Why did I say probably? Yeah.
No, it's just you know what's really cool. I don't mean to like derail us, but like again, I've been listening to a lot of this, and I said this earlier, but this guy who's a Nobel Prize winning economist, and I want to give props to the chat for this because they're doing this. He's one of his things that's just take out bias is to go ask somebody who is outside of your decision the answer because they come at it from an unbiased perspective or a more unbiased perspective than what you have. And so like everybody in the chat, whether you know it or not, you're basically Nobel Prize winning economists. You're brilliant. We appreciate you asking, and not just asking us, but asking all of the shows and anybody you do.
I have always said the chat is smarter. Got a question on Twitter here, not to kirk you here, Brandon, but Najee Harris and the 112 or Mac Jones and AJ Dillon in Superflex? I don't know. Honestly.
So you said Najee Harris and Mac Jones? Is that what you said?
Najee Harris and the 112. So basically
Najee Harris and the 112.
Harris, for Mac Jones and AJ Dillon. It's the Mac Jones side, right?
Yeah.
That sucks.
No, you know what?
Yeah.
It's real close. Mac Jones is not a difference-making quarterback. He's not. I am a Patriots fan. Okay. I want him to be very successful. He is not a difference-making quarterback. Ah, man, that's gross. It's pretty even. I would rather have Najee Harris. I'm going to take a stand. I would rather have Najee Harris, and then I would turn around and trade the 112 and try to get like Kirk Cousins.
No, it's locked in. I replied, Brandon, is it time to freak out about Lance yet? Did something happen? I've been freaking out about Lance for like 2 months. If you want to come join in, that's great. But I don't think anything of particular has happened, has it? Is it just the fact that Jimmy hasn't been traded yet? Like, if he's good, it doesn't matter. So how much of your decision was based on the idea that he's good? Because like a significant portion of it needed to be. Like, the confidence with which he should get the starting job should have weighed in. But yeah, I don't think anything's happened to make you less sure of it. DeAndre Hopkins and Albert O, or McLaurin and Eno. McLaurin.
DeAndre Hopkins and Albert O, I would think.
Okay.
Well,
I don't think DeAndre Hopkins done. I just.
Oh yeah. Okay. I guess we'll take the young. I mean, I don't. Yeah,
he's younger.
I keep wanting DeAndre Hopkins to be DeAndre Hopkins. That's like in my mind. I'm like, DeAndre Hopkins.
You don't want to be the guy that's out on DeAndre Hopkins a year early. Like no one. Like, I don't think we survive Twitter if you're the guy who was out too early. No, we'll cancel you, buddy.
You talked me back.
DeAndre Hopkins.
You talked me back to the McLaurin side. Can we get like a second instead of Eno Benjamin?
Yo, yeah, definitely. That'd be great. Would you trade the 112 and a late 23 first for Adams? One QB league.
I think I'd rather have the
too late
first. Yeah, I think you can get. I think you can probably get a little more than Adams for that.
I kind of lean the Adams side there.
Yeah.
I don't like projecting that 23 first to be late, to be clear. But I just want to highlight, like, Adams should outscore both of those players, even if they hit. Like, 46% of players that hit in round one of Dynasty startup leagues have one top 24 season. Like, that's our hit rate. I think Adams has at least one between now and, the end of 2023.
I agree with that, but I am really concerned with Adams' value going forward because I could really, I can tell myself a story where he falls on his face in a new situation on a team that's got Waller coming back healthy, on a team that's got Hunter Renfrow, wide receiver 1, Hunter Renfrow, all of these, like, and not that Devontae Adams won't come in and command targets, because I think he will, but you've also seen him play with the most efficient quarterback that I have ever seen
in the red zone, especially.
And just being a red zone monster. And no offense to Derek Carr, but Derek Carr, man.
Yeah, ain't that? I think Adams is going to be fine. This is one of those, if your team truly sucks, I would take the 2 firsts. If your team is mid, I would probably take the firsts, to be honest. If Adams is the best thing you got on your roster, I would take the first.
But my guess is it's not. I think the 112 and a late 23 first.
He's probably
It sounds like Jer has a good team. Like, if he earned the 112 and is saying, I'm going to earn a late 23 first, then maybe you do want Adams and continue to make that 23 first late. But
that's where I lean. But we're slightly different sides of the same trade. That probably means it's fairly even, Joe. Wherever you feel the wind blowing, it's your team. Adam Thielen for a wide receiver 3 for this year. I mean, that'd be
if
great.
He's healthy, I think he will be. Why not?
I assume he's a top 24 guy if he's healthy.
So wide receiver 3 is top 36, so you're feeling good about it, right?
Very good, yeah. Steven, I appreciate you guys. Didn't hate the offer, but I think I can probably get more for these 3 individually. Forget the exact offer, but I'm glad we maybe helped you think it through. Gavin Grant, Brandon Cooks, and a 23 first from McLaurin. I mean, it's even in a vacuum, probably the first. McLaurin's top 12 range likelihood dropped after this year.
Yeah.
And I know what it is. Don't get me wrong. He's a talented player, and we want to believe that can make it happen, but I sometimes just retreat to the average. And Cooks is fine. So probably the first in Cooks. Stefan Caleb, 10-team Superflex Premium. I have Pittman, DK, Lamb, Waddle. Thinking of moving Pittman. Good man. What can I expect in return? Maybe package the 104. I already have 423 first.
If you're packaging with the 104, then you're going way up, I think.
Yeah.
In a Superflex.
Okay. If you're thinking about moving, and of all the jokes I've made about Pittman, he should have really good value. Like, he did great last year. His quarterback improved, honestly, improved. And no matter what Dynasty Outhouse says, then you're looking at that top tier. So we're thinking Justin Jefferson, we're thinking Jamar Chase. You're not getting them. And so I think Jalen Waddle, and I think AJ Brown. That's who I want to go get. Well, you've got Waddle, so it's just AJ Brown.
And Debo in that mix.
Yeah, that's fair. He should be on this list, but I don't know where his value's at. You know what I mean? He should be there, but
currently sitting at wide receiver 9 behind Waddle, Devontae Adams. So,
yep. So Debo too. Debo would be an option.
T. Higgins
I'm a bad
might
person.
Be an option. Yeah.
I like the way you make me say that every time. I'm a bad person. Swift 103 for AJ Brown on the 104, 1 QB. AJ Brown side, please. Yeah. I'll go down a pick.
Yeah, but that's a big pick though. In one quarterback, that's a big pick for me.
It is. So you're saying you'd stay on the Swift side then?
I think I'd stay on the Swift side and then try to trade Swift individually if I want to get I don't hate DeAndre Swift. Swift caught a ton of passes last year. Will probably catch a ton of passes again this year.
He's a player. Yeah.
He's a very good running back. I like AJ. I like AJ Brown, but I think Swift AJ Brown is kind of a push, and I think you can get more for Swift than you can get for, or you can get an AJ Brown caliber player for Swift if you want to do that without dropping the pick.
And I think that's fair. If you can get a better trade, get a better trade. If this is where you've come to, this is the best you can get. Yeah, I'm fine with it. I like getting the AJ Brown side, but
I'm very confident that Breece Hall will be good.
Yes.
I'm very confident that Treylon Burks will be good, and I'm very confident that Garrett Wilson will be good.
Wilson. After that, you're right. It's a bit of a draw. That's fair. Mayday. 12-team Superflex tight end premium 1.75 or 0.75. Sorry. What return would you expect for Andrews and AJ Brown? The world.
Yeah.
The literal world. They give you the championship. Like you get 2022. Like you should be able to get whatever single player that you want. If you're asking how many picks I can get, 3, generally my max of what I think people should trade away. So yeah, 3.
So that's a first round startup pick and a second round startup pick.
Yeah,
like that's Andrews is a second, AJ Brown is a first round startup pick. So that's what your and 0.75 premium. I assume it's like a PPR, so like 1 plus a 0.75, so you're getting 1.75 for your tight. Like that makes Mark Andrews absolutely legit.
Yeah. I mean, do you want Jonathan Taylor? I wouldn't, but you can go get Jonathan Taylor for that. To be honest, that's the level we're talking. Weaves, I moved Gallup 109, 209 for Metcalf before I heard the news he might even get traded. Huh, that's fair. I'm really hoping for that trade now. That's fair. That's fair. I think Metcalf's value is unceremonious. Like if it drops in my league, I make a trade for him. Like I'm like he's 24 and good.
Honestly, you really gave
that's what we like about CD Lamb. It's the same thing.
You gave up an injured wide receiver 2 who you hope to come back and regain form, and the 109 for DK Metcalf. Shirt off photo. I won't do that here, but shirt off. I mean,
just
photo.
make it your screensaver every time you look at it. You'll be like, yeah.
I look a lot more like Pete Carroll than I do DK, so we'll keep it on.
I saw that picture of both of them. Couldn't even match up to Pete Carroll. West Coast Chiefer, what's up, guys? 12-team Superflex PPR 109, a 23-second, and Albert O, who seems to be popular in these trades tonight. Hawkinson for Hawkinson and the 203. It's a big bagger. Who cares? I guess the 109.
I take the 109. Yeah. I'd rather have that side of it.
BJ Lee, owner has Brandon Cooks, Fournette. What picks? I want to give a second for Fournette. That's what I want to do. Not necessarily an early second, but it's fine.
If you have 2 seconds, do that. Do you think you can't get Brandon Cooks for a third? Can you?
He's not a second, not a third. You know, he's like,
so like do something like Brandon Cooks and Fournette for your second, your third, and then throw in like Albert Equabanam, like what, like some guy who's at the back end of your roster.
Throw in a sleeper.
Yeah. Yep.
This is where sleepers have value. It's like, you love Kalen Granson, I got him for you.
Absolutely.
Like, honestly,
Donald Parham.
That means knowing
we got one of those too.
Got to know who that guy likes. But you can always straight up ask, who on my roster do you like? Like if I added as a deeper guy, or just start a conversation as Zach does. It's the only reason he talks to me. He wants to know how to send me better trades.
Absolutely.
Frolicking Heifer. Awesome, guys. Appreciate you, man. Thanks very much. John Bosch. Yes, got my sub badge. Oh, it's a Twitch thing. You can sub on Twitch. You get a little badge. Yeah, I did notice you're commenting on Twitch. Appreciate that, John. Most of it's always YouTube. I really do appreciate the Twitch viewers, since I'm one of 4 Dynasty or fantasy people that do on Twitch. It's nice that someone watches over there. Appreciate it. Also, could you make your league simpler, please? West Coast Chiefer. I spent a good hour today, trying to figure out if I like to trade or not, and I'm still not sure. If you all want to hear about that trade and you've got a free hour, I'm happy to rant. But moving on. West Coast Chiefer, 12-team Superflex PPR. Peter, should Juju in the 105 be enough for Waddle? Yes. He's just sitting this one out. All right.
Well, I mean, he asked you the question.
That should be enough to get you Waddle, yeah.
I'd rather have Waddle, but
But yeah, okay. I think it should be enough. If they say no to that, that's fine. I take Juju out of it. I'm putting something else into it. But that should be the day. Weeds, any ideas for running backs to move down from Swift to add a 23 first on top? Running back to move down from... Oh, so who would I trade Swift away for to get a 23? Right. Okay, good question.
Brees Hall.
Me a second. It's a little difficult to trade for Brees Hall, though. You trade for the pick you think he is, right. And then he, it is a super flex, though. I'm assuming. I'm just going to assume. So you want 102 for Swift and a first? I think that would be fair. 2 first-round picks for Swift would be great.
Who are the who else you're going to go after? Like Saquon, maybe
to get a first on top.
Antonio Gibson.
I don't think Swift gets Harrison a first, so my guy's already gone. And so it's Gibson, maybe just Jacobs at a push, but that seems too low.
Do you trust somebody like Dobbins to be a reasonable facsimile, like RB1, RB2 in that 10 to 15? That was a question. I don't trust him there, but that was a question.
I want Gibson. Gibson's a different tier for me. Yep. So it's Gibson. Gibson and a first, and I would trade you Swift. I can't think of many running backs exactly in that range.
Sneaky, go get Josh Jacobs and 2 firsts.
Yeah, that's the thing. I just default if there isn't a guy in the and the Antonio Gibson owner normally says no, then I default to I want more than 1 first, and I'll go get Josh Jacobs, go get Fournette and 2. That's But yeah, that's the best name I can come up with for that exact trade. But way to put us on the line, though. That doesn't give us a lot of, well, it depends on your team room. And that is the way to ask a damn question. I appreciate it. Don't let me wiggle, because I will wiggle my hiney off. I felt like saying that, so I did. Stephanie Caleb, 10-team Superflex tight end premium. I have Dak, Watson, Lance. Solid. Let's trade Lance. Remus.
I think that's Russell.
Russell, right? Russell Wilson.
Unless it's just
a lot of quarterbacks.
Cousin.
Yeah. Which would you move out?
Lance.
The 4. I would move Lance out of the 4.
Yeah.
Actually, I'd want to move Watson just as much, but I think Lance is easier to move.
Yeah.
You've got 3 guys with a likely top 5 upside. Russell Wilson, who I think can genuinely do it, but he's not valued there. And I would trade the one I haven't seen play yet.
Absolutely. That's exactly where I'm at, because you've seen Dak be good. You've seen Deshaun Watson be a top 5. You've seen Russell Wilson be good. If Russell Wilson's my QB3, I'm happy with that. And Lance right now his value is through the roof.
Well, the real answer here is, in your league, which one can you get that value for? Value them all equally. If you find someone in your league willing to do it for Watson, it's Watson. If you find someone willing to do it for Lance, it's Lance. If you find someone willing to do it for Dak, it's Dak. Russell Wilson's value just isn't enough, considering his upside, I think, to try. But your league might be different. But my inclination is to think Lance. But your league, I would trade either of them for that top 5 value. I'm a bad person. I just like saying it now. 1 QB, 5 PPR team is Watson. Cousins as a backup. It's 1 QB, but sure. CMC, Javonte, Metcalf, Deontay, Higgins, Goddard, Saquon, Swift is my team. Ready to go, or should I improve at wideout? I mean, you need to, but your team's good to go, man. You got the value there to do it, I think. You keep CMC. I would trade Javonte. Josh Jacobs plus a better wide receiver. Javonte for Josh Jacobs or Fournette plus a higher upside wide receiver. That kind of move, But you don't have to do it that way, because you also have plenty of value here. I think Swift carries that kind of value that I'd be interested in trading as well. So you've got options, and you do need to prove a wide receiver, but you're good to go for this year to try it.
And
now let Zach come in with the real answer.
No, I like that, especially with the half-point PPR.
Yes.
I think that Swift is a player you could get rid of. Like that's you're not getting because I think most of his value comes from the receiving game. All of a sudden, you're cutting his points by a considerable amount. Not that he's still not valuable, but
yeah.
So yeah, like I think that's a way to attack it. When we talked about Javonte Williams being over.
Oh, hot damn! Sorry,
what's that? Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm just looking at 2021 here, but he got 16 points per game. 9 points per game came from the receiving game.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like Swift had 74 receptions last year.
Wow.
So you cut that in half in a half point PPR, and if people are valuing Swift as a top 3 running back, then
I think that's strong. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if they're not, I would treat Devontae and Swift the same way here. As I said for the quarterback question, whichever one you can get that value on, I would use them to improve my wide receivers. Metcalf and Deontay, the value isn't good enough to expect to trade. Higgins, maybe. But yeah. Godwin or Keenan Allen and a 23 second. Just got Keenan Allen because I prefer the player. And I get a second.
I'd rather have Godwin, but I mean, again, it depends on your team too. I mean, if
you're not a Patriot fan, you're a Tom Brady fan.
No, but I am a Chris Godwin fan, and I think that he's going to be a good player for. He's going to be Keenan Allen for the next 6 years, and Keenan Allen's probably going to be Keenan Allen for the next 2.
But Godwin's great, but like I default to volume. Keenan Allen gets 30% target shares. Godwin gets 21% target shares. It's not worse. It's less.
Right.
It's not worse. It's less. I don't know why I always have to pause for this, Stephanie. 104 plus something gets me the 101. Or is London worth keeping my pick for? I wouldn't draft London there. But if you like him, yeah, you're probably going to have to draft him in and around there. Do I possibly try to get another 23? Yeah, you always try and get more 23 first. But the question is here, what do you have to add to the 104 to get to the 101? 105?
Well, if it's super flex, more than that, because it's the quarterback. I mean, I think that's the one caveat. Like, I don't see. I mean, I would rather have Breece Hall than the wide receivers, but not like it's not a huge amount. It's some. Like Breece Hall is my clear, not like non-quarterback best player.
You see where where trading is a weakest, not the weakest by far, but a weak part of my game, because I struggle with these inner vacuum value questions. Like I don't have go-tos to translate everything, and I don't have one for this. Like I know I want to do that, and it's probably worth it in a Superflex draft.
Right.
So I kind of default to whatever gets it done. I would not pay 2 firsts. I would not pay an extra 23 first. I'm trying to add a player like there's so many
Miles Sanders
to make that value up. Yeah, sure. Miles Sanders.
Well, but again, without seeing the roster, Stephanie and Caleb, it's hard to give you the actual player.
The best I can come up with is another high value first this year is easily an add to the 104 to get up to the 101, Superflex or not.
Yeah.
For me. So
and I would do it if I had anything. If it's Superflex, if I had anything below the 104, I would add it to that to get up to the 101. If it's not Superflex, it doesn't matter to me because the 104 doesn't carry that. So anything below, like any other pick below the 104 would get me there. And it's not Drake London, but you do. At least for me. I mean, like
who's your team?
I've been wrong. I've been wrong an awful lot, and I'll be wrong an awful lot in the future.
I mean, I literally fought Jake Anderson over N'Keal Harry, like consistently and persistent. Like I went to war for N'Keal Harry. Like I've been wrong. I will be wrong. I like Drake London. I don't like him at the 104. But that's me. Rob Downs, Hopkins, Lockett, or Montgomery, Curtis Samuel.
Hopkins, Lockett.
Hopkins and Lockett. Glad to
Gross.
see Montgomery's getting some love.
He should.
Yeah,
I like Montgomery, but we're not. But so that's the guy. That's the guy that we were trying to think of. That. Well, maybe not. But was good, but not getting the respect. And like his first year, he kind of split.
Not too bad.
His first year, he kind of split. He didn't get the receiving work, and people were like, "Oh, he's terrible. He's inefficient." And I'm like, he got 250 carries, and he got 250 carries his next year, and he did. Like, it's just what he does. It's like the James Earl Jones talking in, about baseball. It rolls on. Time rolls on like a steamroller. Tearing things down and building things up. But David Montgomery continues on.
Okay. 12-team Superflex, J.K. Dobbins or ETN in the first? I'll take ETN in the first.
Yep.
I think you'll be able to trade ETN for roughly what you can trade Dobbins for. Russ raised an interesting point that we haven't heard much about ETN's recovery yet, and that is a little weird, but I do think it's going to happen. So, Adams and Carr, I guess, are still best friends. I assume all players are best friends. They all love each other. It's friendly locker rooms. Their words, not mine. And Adams' sophomore season at Fresno. Yeah, there's a connection argument with Carr and Adams. Yeah, I'm not concerned with Adams because he's a good player. I just think he's efficient in the red zone without Aaron Rodgers because that is insane. But he'll be good. He's fine.
Also, I would bet that the defenses that they're playing against are better than what Fresno State played at. And
Carr's also fine. Like there's no question here. Carr's pretty decent. Adams is very good.
Yeah.
I don't think we need a chemistry argument to expect 1,700 yards and 24 touchdowns. Maybe not, but top 12 is definitely still in the range of outcomes.
Yeah.
But
I'm still a little leery of it. Just again,
I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if he doesn't get a top 12 season, but is still pretty good, next year's dynasty value is DeAndre Hopkins. That's
right. As a 30-year-old wide receiver, yeah.
Because of his age. And Dynasty's like, nope, out. You're not good immediately. I'm out. J-Clasp, 12-team, 1 QB. Javonte Williams plus a 103 for Derrick Henry. And yes.
And yes. Yeah.
That's trade. I don't know why I had that visceral. Like the 103 is a really solid pick. Whoever you're making this trade with, they're getting a good deal. Javonte Williams is good in a good situation, and he will perform well. I want Henry and Najee.
You're getting a better deal.
I'm a sucker trading for running backs. I take him over here. That would be awesome. I like that. Clearly, Jackson P. Cooks is as good as McLaurin. I don't think that's a bad comparison at all. There are different points in the careers.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think that's bad. Definitely take the 23 first. He added Gavin at the end there, so I didn't know. I actually had to read it there. I think that was clever by Jackson. Stephanie, 10-team Superflex tight end premium. Just to have like a list, because Stephanie's consistent with the questions. This is awesome. Tight end premium. Would you trade CEH for the 202?
I would probably keep CEH, but it's close.
Yeah. That's probably why I've got him on my I'd rather buy than sell list. He's one of the running backs I'll probably be trying to add this year because that value is insanely low.
10-team Superflex, tight end premium. So you're talking the 112 in a 12-team. So you're talking something like,
but also less starters because it's a higher stud market.
Right. But but you're talking something like Olave or Brian Robinson or like one of those quarterbacks you hope went in the first round, Corral or Howell. Like it's
icky, which means it's probably right on the money.
Yeah.
And I just take the player, but I don't think it's terrible.
I'd rather take Hilaire, but
pulled the trigger, acquired John Hopkins, Albert O, and Terry McLaurin for McLaurin and Eno. Nice. Wings, I'll be up. Be up all night. Like, did I give the right advice? But no, I like that's what I think. And you do what you think. Weez, I've been trying to think of ways to expand my fantasy content to Twitch because it can be probably live there. Yeah, me too. But it's been tough. YouTube's just just a more general audience. Also with Twitch, the power of it is this. It's me directly talking to you, Weeds. I love it. Hopefully you're enjoying it somewhat. And I think most Dynasty content creators, like, we're already making videos. We're already doing ranks. And there are so many different assets. If you focused on it, if that's what you did, I think we could really make it work. You could have live streams and you could do it regular hours every week. I'm finding it difficult because I tried to set up. Sorry, this is probably not a question most of the people here are interested in, but I tried to have like 2 days a week where I would stream regularly for a certain number of hours and come back. But I think to capture the audience in fantasy football that's interested in that, you'd have to do it consistently and persistently, which is my phrase lately, by the way, for longer than I could do it before I saw a result. Because I've got rankings to do, I've got projections to make pretty soon, I've got draft coverage, there's so many facets, and I'm not dedicated to it. And the general fantasy audience is like, I'm working at 10 to 2, which is when I had available. Right. And the audience at like after work is like, I'm tired. I don't feel listening to you. I'm actually a 34-year-old man. And so the audience is there for sure. But you've got to do it consistently for a long period of time to drag them all in. And I think most content creators, just old white middle-aged guys like myself who can't keep up with it. There is a growing interest there, and I don't know what or where you are at in your life. And I think Jesse Reeves, he's a popular streamer. I think someone's going to make it work. It's probably not going to be me. I love playing with the platform though, because I really enjoy this part of all of fantasy. And it's sad that I'm not going to be on to figure it out. But I definitely think there's viability there. But it's a different type of platform, and you kind of got to build the audience in the fantasy football world because we're so used to a different kind of audience, you know? We started off reading magazines, then we were reading online articles, and then we were listening to podcasts. And all of those are very different mediums to Twitch and live streaming. And I don't think we're used to it yet. I think it's growing, though. I think it's a really interesting conversation. I have no definite thoughts on, so probably shouldn't have talked about it for that long. Bob Gilchrist, 106, and AJ Brown for the Pits.
That's Bates, but it's AJ Brown in the 106.
AJ Brown on the pick, just easy, Bob. How's that value looking? Rhett, 1 QB, 12 team, half point PPR. The 108 or Rondell and a 3. The 108?
Yeah.
I'm trading seconds for Rondell and happily.
Yeah.
But there's risk even at that. So the 108 wins here for me.
That's so sad.
It is, but I'm buying, man. I'm out here shopping for a second. And Nick Bruna, 10-team PPR. We are moving to Superflex in 2 seasons. That's a good schedule. Give people time to manage their rosters towards it. Should Malik be a first-round pick? Interesting. Yes, but not the 101 necessarily. When you've got 2 seasons and he could bust out between now and then. But he should definitely be a first-round pick. I could see taking Breece Hall over him.
Yeah, I would not take Malik Willis in the first round at this point until
2 years to go.
Until I got down to like the mid to late first, so like 108, 109, to like it's. I am not as confident in this quarterback class. And right now the value is not with I guarantee you other teams in your league are not thinking about, or I shouldn't say that. If other teams in your league are already thinking about quarterbacks, then Malik Willis is a first round pick. If they're not, then don't take the risk that Willis does not succeed.
Because I think that's where my mind went, though. I think I would expect them to be hesitant on it, and so I would I would be higher than that. I'd be like where the tier break is, the 104, the 103. Kind of interested in jumping the gun a little bit. I'd rather be early on the value, but you're right. I think what we're learning here is we don't know.
There's a lot of risk with Malik Willis. Like I have him as my super flex 101. but that is simply because he is a quarterback with rushing upside. But there is a lot of risk. He went to Liberty, which was not a big school. He was not a great thrower of the football in terms of accuracy and decision making, which makes me a little bit leery. He has a very big arm, but there are a lot of things he needs to clean up. So 2 seasons out, it's really hard for me to look at Malik Willis and go, oh, yeah, I want to spend a first-round pick on him.
Right, let's try and catch up a little bit here, Zach. Because I want to get you, to bed before you have to design a new ship. Like I want my ship designer to be rested. But yeah, I would go high. I would be more inclined to put him at the 104 or 105. Zach's making very good points for why you shouldn't know. Bob Gilchrist, how does Twitch work? No idea. I'm an old guy. Jackson P, talking to someone else. Freak Stomp 49er, what would you offer for Russ Wilson? I'm assuming in a super flex. You have the 1.06.
This is the next
from this year. Russ for the 106 and what? If it's a super flex, we're just going to assume super flex here, and you need another first round pick.
Yeah, probably.
Spock 498, 12-team super flex. Kyler Murray, Carr, Swift, ETN. Miles Sanders, James Conner. James Conner's on every team. AJ Brown, Waddle, Deontay, Elijah Moore, Kirk, and Knox Alberto. What should I dress first this offseason? All draft picks, 22, 23. So he's got all his draft picks. Let's look here. You don't have to do it yet, but your running backs need improvement. So I would, tight end is where you can start to improve right now, or at least get some more depth. Evan Ingram's cheap. Just saying.
I would be attacking one of the top tier tight ends. I think Kittle is being undervalued right now. A lot of people are talking bad.
Kittle, Kelsey, Waller, all three.
Absolutely. Yeah, Andrews too. I mean, like, even though Andrews is up,
Andrews is the one that's not. But yeah, I get your point. Yeah, you could do. What would you trade on this team for it?
Picks. Because I think that if I add again, if you added one of those 4 difference maker tight ends, or the 3 guys that you think are values that you can get, all of a sudden your team is really, really competitive in a hurry.
So you're trading your first round pick this year for Kittle? Basically.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
I think that's solid.
And if you have to throw in Knox or Alberto to get it done, then I'd do that too.
Thoughts on buying low and DK? I like the idea based on the trades I'm seeing so far. The windows might be fictitious. Depends on your league, kind of a situation. If I can get him at a discount, which is 2 first-round picks or less, in. If I can add a first-round pick to a mid-tier top 24 guy, Terry McLaurin, who since you've got him in here, then I would take DK. I would add a first-round pick to. We'd have to look at the list. Where's Russ when you need him? Zach, thoughts
on buying low on DK? Again, I think that DK has been overvalued. And also overvalued and tied to the best deep ball thrower as a quarterback in the NFL. He's now not. I don't know that I'm buying low on DK. I think that there are other players that I would rather target. I'd rather target somebody like Deontay Johnson, who I think is probably being valued even further down than Metcalf.
He's not on my list, as it were. He's not made the list. But if you like him, that's probably the best time you've had to trade for him in quite a while. That's what I'm trying to say. And that's kind of where I think his value is. It's Elijah Moore, Chris Godwin, Devontae Smith.
But I'd rather
Pittman
have
and a first.
I'd rather have, instead of buying low on DK, I'd rather have somebody like I just said, Deontay Johnson, Stephon Diggs, DJ Moore. Like, I'd rather have those players than I would Metcalf if I'm buying low, because I think you're getting them for less, and I think you're going to get similar production. So
Well, I
even
think
though
AJ
I paused, Peter, you can go.
No, that's why AJ Brown, like, I think he's similarly discounted, but it's hard to get a trade done. You have to do a decent trade. So I would go to him first. I will want AJ Brown first, but
what are we doing with McLaurin? I'm either holding, or again, this is one where you can pivot and look at that tight end position, because I think McLaurin and some of those the really good tight ends who are being undervalued, so the Kittle, Kelsey, Waller, are going in the same range, which means people are valuing them similarly. And so if I can pivot off a mid wide receiver 2 for a tight end 1 with a bullet, I'm going to do that.
Yeah, I think that's I would see him as a mid wide receiver 2, who's extremely talented, but that's what he is for us.
Otherwise, I'd hold him. I mean,
you can hold. I'm good with holding. Yeah. Fox Valley Wrestling traded away Waddle, Burrow, Fields. I'm feeling nervous. 2 seconds in 2023. Received Michael Thomas, Patrick Mahomes, Kyler Murray.
You're feeling better about it.
Is this a super flex? Devontae Smith.
It better be.
I have Michael Thomas in several leagues. Yeah, I think that's solid. How much longer does he have left? Don't care so much, but 3 years.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be somewhat relevant for 2 or 3 years. Top 12 upside, 2 years. But I can't project that far in the future. We're lucky to think 1 year. That's what some people miss with Team Old Guy. Like, we're lucky to get a lot right about next year. Predicting 2 years out gets even more tricky. But it doesn't matter. If this is a super flex and you've got those quarterbacks, like, you can bust out, you're good. I think this is really solid. Frank's Freak Stomp. If I wanted to sell Eckler mid-season, what would you take for him, assuming he's let's say top 12. Let's lower his ceiling. Top 12 running back. What would you trade away to get Eckler mid-season?
If I'm a contender, if I'm a top 3 or 4 team, I'm going to give you my first. Yeah, and that's what I would want for. And those are the teams that I would be shopping him to. Mm-hmm. Where, like, if you're in season and you don't have a good team, like if you're in the bottom tier, you're looking up at those top 4 teams and you're saying, okay, your first is going to be lower, but that's okay. I'm okay with that. I'm at a point where I need to rebuild. Eckler's not going to do me any good this year, so here you go. And then again, you can use those 23 first if you want to move around, or they give you flexibility. I mean, that's the great thing about picks, and I think it's the thing that gets talked about a little, but not enough, is how much flexibility a pick gives you. Because if you have a player, if you have Eckler, he is Austin Eckler. And so you have a finite number of teams that are interested in Austin Eckler. But there are not going to be a finite number of teams in your league that are interested in 23 picks. Everybody is going to be interested in picks.
Dynasty Outhouse keeps it front and center in my mind. It's a trade-to-trade thing. It's something he does so well, pointing out that flexibility matters.
Yeah.
The number of teams who are interested in that value that matter. It's the problem I'm having trading for the wide receivers I like right now, because normally I'm trading for running backs later, and I'm normally stuck with the wide receivers I have. So I have few first, and it's okay to talk about value, but at the end of the day, break it down John Bosch style, you have to give people things they want for things that you want. And people want first. They don't want Austin Eckler, apart from those few teams that Zach's talking about. And it matters. It's a good point. Joe Herbert, James Earl Jones, Michael Pittman. I find your lack of faith disturbing. I don't know why I tried for the voice there.
I thought you were going to go with a rebuttal of you must never go there, Simba.
No, it's fine. I mean, I'll be a foil. I don't mind being the devil's advocate over here. That's kind of my role. What's the selling price I can get for Juju? Apparently a lot.
Somewhere between the first and the second. I think.
Yeah, we were finding like if you want to sell him, what people are getting are basically like Tyreek Hill if you add a first. You can get Amari Cooper if you add a first. You can get Justin Fields. You can get Trey Lance and Terry McLaurin if you add Justin Fields. So those are some ideas. If you add a first to Juju, you can go get one of those questionable, older, top tier, not even that old, Tyreek Hill, Stephon Diggs type players.
I'm going to spin it and tell you that I would buy him for a second, and I would sell him for a first. And so that's kind of that dividing line for me. So if you're trying to make a deal, I would be trying to get a first round pick.
Yep. I think we're in a similar place, which is why I can't trade for him and you're not. You know what I mean?
Yep. I tried to get him. I tried to get him in a package a couple of weeks ago where I was giving up a little bit more than what I was getting back. And so I added a third to try to get Juju. And we kind of hemmed and hawed and came back and we didn't make that trade. And then when Juju went to Kansas City, the same manager turned around and offered Juju for my 23 first. And I was like, no. No. I appreciate you, but you keep your Juju.
I will take your Juju. Where are we? He couldn't get the Cook deal done, so we went with DeAndre Hopkins. I think that's solid. Yeah. Again, no one wants to call DeAndre Hopkins done because he'll punish us probably for trying. I'm a bad person. Put Swift on the trade block within seconds of your two's advice. Got offered Diggs and a 2024 first.
I don't like the 2 year out. Yeah. I would not take. I think you can do better than that.
I think you can do better. But yeah, people like Swift. It's a good point. That's and to be clear, that's why I say trade. It's not because he's gonna bust. Like we said, he's a good player. It's because people really, really like him.
Absolutely.
And at that value, you might be able to get you a good trade. If this is as good as you get, you just keep Swift.
Was this the half point PPR? Was this I'm a bad person? Was half point PPR?
I believe it was.
Yeah. So again, I think you can do better than that, but I think that's the avenue that you want to try to attack.
And you got a benchmark. You've got one. I mean, Stephon Diggs is not dog meat, you know.
And I don't think that trade's going away. I think that if you offer that in 2 weeks, it would get snap accepted. So like, be patient.
Fair point. Norris, hey buddy. Superflex traded DeAndre Hopkins for Kareem Hunt and Bateman. Love it. Did I make the right move? I would do that again. Don't want to call Hopkins isn't done, but value's value, and I think Bateman's good. I feel like people have quelled on Bateman a little bit, but I like him still. So Juju high right this second if you can. Yeah, if you can sell a player high, generally in Dynasty you do it. I question whether we can. I like the Hunt Bateman side. Freak stomping those. Local liability sitting on a 3-way trade in a 1 QB lead. Pardon me. My side sends Debo, the 102, hefty, 23 first to receive Devontae Smith, the 102, so you're moving up a pick, and the 105. Okay, currently sitting on 423 firsts. So it's Debo, the 102, and a first for Devontae, the 102, and the 102. Has the 102?
We got two 102s. That's going to be a different pick, but I'm going to stay with the Debo side.
Debo, yeah. I mean, yeah, Debo side, because you already have a high first parent pick on that side already, whether it's a 102 or not.
So yeah,
and a 23 first.
Yeah, I'd rather have Debo than the Devontae Smith. The 102 and the 102 is a push, and the 23 first I'd rather have than the 105. So I'd rather have the Debo side.
Yeah, I think Freak Stomp agrees and says no way for me. Yeah, I'd rather just keep Debo. I've already got a high first. I got a first for next year, so I'm not losing out there. Yeah, I think you're good.
Dave, if you're going to be in the chat, you're going to have to change your name to Joe so we can say, hey, Joe, because we only say hey to Joes. So, I don't know.
Fair. Hey Dave! How to sending and receiving the 102? What the fuck? Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it mattered for us much as long as they're both pretty high. It's just deeper. Local liability, I would be receiving the 101 and sending the 102.
Yeah, but it's
So
a
he
one
would move up
quarterback, so
one.
it's not. Yeah, no, I'd still stay
nah.
on the Debo side.
Yep. 49er, I would like to for sure. What pick would you want back in a 1 QB league? Don't know what this is referring to. What did I miss? Oh, yeah, for Juju.
Yeah.
I would like to for sure. What pick would you want back? I mean, any first round pick if you're selling, I guess.
Yeah.
Again, in my leagues, I found the value a little higher than that. But I mean, I'm looking at a trade on the trade finder right now that's Juju plus Corey Davis and the 201. So it's heavily league dependent. I'd take Juju heavily there, to be honest. So yeah, just a general first, any first is a pretty good line. Sorry. Have the 101, 102, 104, and a 12-team Superflex tight end premium. This quarterback class scares me. Me too, buddy. I'm honestly terrified I have to think about them at some point. Will I regret taking Willis so early?
Maybe.
No. It's good process. He might bust, but it is good process. So I'm gonna lean no. I don't feel regret for what I think was a strong decision that didn't work out. So I'm gonna say no.
If you are tepid on this quarterback class, and I understand, I still would draft Malik Willis 101. But if you're tepid, go to the person with the 103, offer them the 101 for the 103 plus, like what we've been talking about, plus whatever, either a 23 first, or if they've got a second first round pick, or if they've got somebody that you think is worth that second first round pick to move back those few spots so they can go get a quarterback. Great. Also, look at if your quarterbacks are set, maybe I'm not as, I know Russ is sitting there screaming draft for value, trade for need.
Mm-hmm. Here's what I would say, and this is what my mind defaults to. It's not just about hits and busts. It's also just about value. That's what we're talking about, right? The value of a quarterback. The value at quarterback is safer. Patrick Mahomes' Trey Lance value has remained steady after their first season when they did nothing. Justin Fields still has value. So does Zach Wilson. You'll find some quarterback value is actually safer. It's much more likely to stay the same or increase in terms of ADP by the sophomore offseason or whatever we want to call right now for Zach Wilson. So even if you're uncertain of the quarterback class, the value is still more likely to be stable. It's more likely to be higher, and they're also hitting at a higher rate, even though they don't do much their first year. So it's more insulated. In a scary quarterback class, there's actually more incentive to go QB1. That's actually what I would say. And to be fair, that's for someone who's openly, I still don't know if I would take Breece Hall, because I don't know how to evaluate quarterbacks. So it's a tricky proposition for me. I have to trust someone else, and I'm not good at that. So I feel you. But hopefully that maybe makes you feel more comfortable with the idea, or at least gives you something to think about. Zach, I interrupted you again, so
no,
sorry.
I was nodding my head. It was just my brain rattling that you could hear.
Fair enough. It is a big head.
It's not, though. It's small. They had to special order my hats on the baseball team.
It's not the size. We have like smaller brains than Neanderthals and stuff, and also they seem to be more intelligent than us. But that's, again, it's meant to be unrelated. Mike, what up, fellas? I traded Derrick Henry, Jerry Jeudy. I like both of those things. I don't like the way this is going, Mike. The 5.03, is this a startup? And the
that's
103
my question.
In 2022, it's got to be rookie picks. So awesome. For Javonte Williams, Hunter Renfrow, and the 301. It's a Superflex Dynasty League. What do you think?
If it's not a startup, if that 503 is not like,
it's just a fifth round rookie pick?
Yeah, as a fifth round. I still want the Jerry Jeudy, Derrick Henry
and
side of
Derrick
this.
Henry side, yeah. Yeah, if it's a startup, probably have to rethink it. But the 503 is worth less than nothing. Like it's
the 103 is nice, and
103 is good.
Javonte Williams,
Hunter
It's
Renfro
good.
is nice.
Yeah, but I'd still rather have
Judy and Henry.
Yeah.
Henry's Williams and Henry are the difference-making points generators here. Jerry Judy, I think, could be significantly. He could be what Hunter Renfro was last year.
Then you add the 103 to it. That's the thing.
Then
to me.
you add the 103.
So Javonte Williams has more value than Derrick Henry, but I think Derrick Henry outscores Javonte Williams unless somehow Melvin Gordon falls off the face of the earth and Denver decides that they don't want to draft a running back. Maybe they pull a Minnesota and they just don't pick for like 2 or 3 rounds, and then they're like, oh yeah, we forgot. But I still think that 103 makes the difference in that trade, and I'd take that side. If it's a startup, we have to reset and figure something else out.
Like the 103, whether it's Superflex or 1 QB, like that's a fancy ass pick this year. So I just like that side. I appreciate you guys taking so much time to answer all these specific questions. Thank you, Fox Value Wrestling, because some people feel like we take too long, because we do take too long, and sometimes you don't want to stay up 3 hours to hear the answer to your particular question. But it is recorded, so we do apologize. But this is how we like talking to people about Dynasty, and
at least we're getting a raise, not a bonus.
Yeah,
I like that.
A conversation isn't an answer, my brother do it this way. That's me. Appreciate that you like it. Joe McCart. I don't know why I'm struggling with names. I don't know why. That's a very normal name. I'm sorry, Joe. Joe McCarter. Just going for it. Jalen Rager and Nikhil Harris for JJ Sega Whiteside.
Trolling. Look at that.
And a bowl of soup grapes. Sour grapes, 12-team PPR. Yeah. Those are players I have on my roster still because no one has to pay that tax but me. I think I own that. I need to own that for the league.
Can I answer this one, Peter?
Sure.
The answer is A.J. Brown and Justin Jefferson.
Yes, that was probably the answer there. I had Justin Jefferson and Jalen Rager ranked in the same tier, and I feel shame. But Chase was in that tier too, 2 out of 3, Eagles. Harry, I just was wrong on. That was so long ago. I learned a lot, but honestly, I'd still probably get it wrong. I'm not saying like I would get it right now. He looked better than he's been. But that's why I admit quickly, I was out by year 1. I was still trying to trade for him from J-Mike because I was trying to convince J-Mike, no, this is honestly bad. But I just kind of want to trade for him because I didn't get him in this league. And he didn't believe me. I was like, no, I'm not trying to get a sleep. He's hurting. Trust me. And he wouldn't believe that I was trying to actually do him a favor. But I essentially wanted to pay for my sins. And he didn't let me. And JJ Sega Whiteside was a late first, to be fair. And yeah, I was just completely wrong on him. But I did highlight that he had strong warts on his profile. That's why he's a late first. Like, yeah, I was not confident in his top 24. Not what I call confident in his top 24 upside, but I was definitely hella wrong. So yeah, all the sour grapes, man. I'm bitter about all of them. Thank you for the reminder. John O.T. Is Breece Hall a top 10 dynasty running back for both of you already? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And most of the community.
I think it will be for the redraft community. Like, I don't think that's dynasty being overly favored. Like, I think the redrafts are going to come in August and be like, oh yeah, that guy.
So, but John, to just kind of frame it right now, he is. If he ended up going to, say, Indianapolis in the 3rd round, that's gonna kill his. Yeah, but if Breece Hall ends up someplace where he's gonna get a pretty good share of the workload, then he's a top.
If you're gonna clip this and show us up in a year, then make sure you include the date. That's all we ask. Sprock 498. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate you, man. More than you know. Tyler,
live long and prosper.
I could do that too.
I
was so impressed myself as a kid when I was like, I can do that naturally. Yay.
I can't do it with my left hand, but I can with my right hand because I broke this finger and had to play basketball with it taped. And so
didn't think that'd be an advantage to you, did you?
Like now I got it. Now I got it. I could say live long and prosper to Spock. So
12-team 1 QB, 1.03 and Mike Williams for the 108 and a 23 first. The 103 and a 1 QB.
I would rather have Mike Williams and the 103 because I'd rather have the 103 than the 23 first.
So you're not getting your top wide receiver or running back. Take Hall.
But I'm getting one of my top 3 players, which
that's what I'm
tier.
Saying.
Yeah,
like that tier, and Mike Williams is fine. It's like we said to trade him earlier, but he's fine. 108 is a strong teardrop, and the 23 first is tempting for a guy who never has enough draft capital.
That's a pretty even trade, though. I mean,
it's very even. I'm probably leading the 2 picks side, and I hate myself for it. I want the points, but it's even. There you go. We're demonstrating how it's even. That's what I'll say. Great episode, gent. Much to think about. See you next week. Really appreciate
you, Weaves.
Thank you very much. Bob Gilchrist, 106 and 111 for the 103. 103, please, Bob.
Yep.
I'm not going to make a comment about Kyle Pitts. I'm growing as a person. Mike, thanks, guys. It was a rookie draft. Yeah, good. I figured. That's cool. Spot 23 first plus Carr or Dak. Superflex. Dak. Yeah, I'll take Dak. I mean, it's pretty even. But I'm second guessing myself because I think Carr's fine. Carr's fine.
Yeah. I mean, again, that one is going to be dependent on what I've got on the rest of my roster. Like, it really is.
I said Dak, so I'll stand by it, but yeah. How are you still grinding? Time check midnight. Oh, yeah, 3 minutes ago. We're doing pretty well, Bosch. We're catching up. If you can stop posting. No, don't stop posting comments.
Bosch is getting ready to do his Wordle right now.
Please leave. Over. I need to do my Wordle. Spock, CD in the 1.2 plus a 3.2 for Mitch Trubisky and Nico Collins. Just CD Lamb. I guess just give me CD Lamb here. Oh, Superflex. So that's Breece Hall, but it's Breece Hall plus for CD Lamb, basically. CD Lamb.
Yeah, I think I'd take Lamb.
Higgins and a 23 second for Juju and Devontae Smith. Devontae Smith for me.
Yeah, but that's close.
Sure. I honestly thought you'd go the other way there.
No, I think again, I am a big Devontae Smith fan. I think Devontae Smith had a very good rookie year, but has a pretty high ceiling. And if Juju does anything in Kansas City, you're going to be able to flip him for more than that second. So hey, we're feeling good about it.
This is the year we find out that quarterbacks matter, according to some people on my timeline, at least. And I think there's some truth to that. I think it's going to be a great year for demonstrating both. Actually,
it's the venom. It's a symbiote. It's symbiosis. You know, it's that the quarterback matters, but the wide receiver matters. The wide receiver probably matters to himself more than the quarterback, but the quarterback sure as heck helps.
It's a weird, interesting mix, but it is a mix.
You already got the Wordle done. Oh, I should have known it's
12:05. Good news, though. We are caught up. John is, in fact, at the last comment. So really appreciate everyone. Check out the Dynasty Grind every Wednesday at 9:30. I don't know what these arm movements mean. I'm just trying to make it dynamic.
It means look over there, Peter.
For YouTube and Twitter.